our state. We are complemented with 4 international airports. We have 2 seaports. We have a metro rail project. Our state is a buzzing place for sure. And in this session, we explore how these vital infrastructural links are the conduits for transformation, connecting Kerala to the world and opening doors of opportunities for our state. So let's start our in-depth conversation on the pathways to growth that lie at the heart of Kerala's remarkable journey towards progress and prosperity. It's my pleasure to bring on stage the moderator for this session, a very senior bureaucrat, Dr. Usha Titus, IAS. She's the chairperson and managing director of Additional Skill Acquisition Program. I just read in her profile that she started her career in 1993 as an IAS officer. So this is also the 30th year since she started serving the state. Welcome on stage, ma'am. So glad to have you here. And I would like to hand it over to her to invite the rest of the panelists, fellow panelists, onto the stage. I'll get you a cordless mic.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 3rd session, as the MC said, that focuses on pioneering growth and transforming Kerala. This session is titled Bridges to Growth and focuses on infrastructure. Infrastructure, as we all know, is truly vital to growth. These bridges, be it ports, airports, rail and roadways, connect industry to the markets. They improve the quality of life, they create wealth, they also spur growth. Our infrastructure should not only be just transformative for the economy and the society, but sustainable too. That calls for suitable design and planning and adequate investment. But companies are only as good as people. All businesses depend on the knowledge, the skills, the experience and work ethics of its people, of its employees. As we develop new infrastructure like Virinyam, like Sial did 20 years ago, like Kochi Metro less than 10 years ago, which have the potential to change the landscape of the state, the hinterland of the state, and expand further, we should be able to also nurture talent for the industry. And that is what my business is focused on. Let me say 2 lines about what I do now. I head a company called Additional Skill Acquisition Program Kerala, which is 100% public sector owned. We provide programs and courses to improve the employability of our youth, our students on campuses. As we are recognized by the National Council for Vocational Education Training as an assessing body and an awarding body, we are able to curate programs in partnership with the industry. All that we do is always in partnership with the industry. In the context of this session, I'd like to state that developing talent can also attract new industry to the state to transform it. So we realized, we were told by the industry, the taxation and accounts industry, that US taxation firms were offshoring to India. And so we developed the course curriculum to enable commerce and MBA finance students to take a professional certification called Enrolled Agent, which is a certification given by the Internal Revenue Service of the United States to enable the income tax or to assist the income tax pays of that country. And as we trained them, We found, and as we trained them, and they became available even before the completion of their certification, a new company headquartered in US called Great Integrity started their biggest offices in India, in Kerala, their biggest office in Kottarakara, the rural area of Kerala, and another in Koratti. So that went on to show that talent could bring new industry, new job opportunities to our people. It also goes to show that throughout Kerala, the state government has provided infrastructure in partnership with industry that enables companies to grow irrespective of the rural-urban divide. I'm also happy to say that we have developed programs customized for industry otherwise, one of which is a marine structural fitter for the Cochin Shipyard Limited, curated and developed for them, and a couple of batches of students have already been absorbed as contract employees there. Let me turn to my panel. Our keynote speaker today is Mr. Loknath Behra. He heads Kochi Metro now. Kochi Metro Rail Limited may have been started with the objective of building and running a metro line, but now it is driving the integrated transportation system for Kochi. For a seamless integration of the entire public transport system, the metro, the boats, the buses, the autos, and the taxis, and thereby enhance the quality of life for the citizens and improve the economic vibrancy of the region. As all of us know, he had been the Director General of Police of Kerala for perhaps the longest time of more than 5 years, and also the former Director of Vigilance. During his tenure at the National Investigation Agency, he was honored with the President's Gold Medal for distinguished service in 2009. As the person heading KMRL, he is apt to deliver the keynote speech today. Our other panelists are Mr. Manu Gopalakrishna Pillai, who is the Director of Cochin International Airport Limited. A BTech holder from TKM Engineering College, Mr. Manu joined CIAL in the year 1999 as Senior Manager Operations. He holds a MBA as well, has even a diploma in traditional architecture from Vastu Vidya Gurukula. He will talk about how Cochin Airport has proven to provide growth in society, Kerala's biggest airport, India's third biggest airport in terms of international traffic, how it has impacted their future plans, their challenges, and what they expect as assistance from other stakeholders to expand and take the airport operations forward. Our next panelist is Mr. Praveen Thomas, who, as all of you know, is the Chief Executive Officer of DP World's International Container Transshipment Terminal at Cochin. Praveen Thomas Joseph holds a BTech degree again in mechanical engineering. He is a member of the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers in the United Kingdom. He has over 20 years of extensive experience in the field of logistics with a focus on third-party logistics, ocean freight, port, and terminal management. He's also worked with other renowned organizations such as Maersk and DHL Global Forwarding in India and overseas. He will talk about this container transshipment terminal and its impact on the economy, how it drives industry, how its operations are actually expanding over the years, and his challenges. and any policy recommendations for the state for the sustainable and sustained industrial growth. Our final panelist will be the Chief General Manager of Cochin Shipyard, Sri Rajesh Gopalakrishnan. Sri Rajesh Gopalakrishnan comes with over 25 years of experience across operations, planning and project management, procurement, commercial and contracting, business development, strategy, mergers and acquisitions. He is currently the Chief General Manager of Ship Repair at CSL. He joined Cochin Shipyard in 2009. As an experienced professional with a wealth of knowledge in the industry, a BTech as his qualification, his contribution has been essential during the success and successful operation of Cochin Shipyard. Without more words, let me call on Sri Loknath Behra, our favorite Director General of Police and presently the MD of Kochi Metro, to talk to us.
When I heard that USA is going to moderate, I became very serious. Because otherwise I was not very serious to say that I can speak anything, taking my position and all these things. But now she made me to read something, to read. And obviously with the people like Manu, Rajesh and Praveen, they are all very high degree professionals because I know them for years. So I have to speak something which will take a little bit because you will be feeling a little drowsy with a beautiful lunch. Very difficult to actually address a gathering like this after the lunch, but anyway, I'll tell you one. When I came from the police to join the metro, the second day I had a very beautiful experience. I got a WhatsApp message stating that there is a picture there attached and it shows a chocolate wrapper on the floor of a train, I mean a metro train. And with a saying that this is not good, it should be removed. Then I didn't know what is the meaning of that. So I asked my PA that what is this? He said, sir, we don't allow people to eat in the train. Number one, somebody has actually eaten something and threw the wrapper on the floor. Therefore, the person who is a co-passenger must have sent it to you. The nutshell, why I am taking the takeaway from this is like this. You believe it or not, Kochi Metro is the cleanest metro in the whole country. It is not because that we do the safai and other thing very clearly. It is because of you. You don't tolerate anything like this. I have now actually, last week I was in London. I was thinking that how clean we are and how good we are in this particular thing. When we talk about Kerala, no malice towards any city, especially Trivandrum. You know, when I came to this place, my first posting was here in Cochin. And Usha's sister, Dr. Asa, was also the sub-collector here. So that time, I was told, because I didn't know much about Kerala, I was told that what Kochi does today, the Kerala does tomorrow. I said, okay, fine, very good. And what Kochi actually, if Kochi grows, Kerala grows. The second part I am really now realizing how important is Kochi in terms of development of our state. Because, see, this is a very interesting city. Those people who are not from this place, I'll tell you one small thing. It is the only city in the whole country which has 27% of area is totally water. Whether it's backwater, canals, do you know that we have 49 canals crisscrossing the city? And it has actually rivers, it has so many, even backwaters, mangroves, all can. Therefore, no wonder that we actually introduced water metro. Now, what has happened is that most of the people, the bureaucrats who are coming from Delhi or the people from abroad visiting Kochi, they say that they want to actually travel in water metro. Now also, in fact, I was actually with the Deputy High Commissioner to UK. He also traveled. After speaking here, he went there along with his lady wife. So he said that you must come. So I took the ride to this place. What is happening is, look, we are having, it is a very small metro. It is only 27 kilometers. Now we are making another kilometer, 11.2 kilometers, which has been approved last year by the Honorable Prime Minister. So we will be building that. We are now going ahead, and we wanted to be the quickest to build. We have put a self-imposed target on us to make it in 24 months. Because using the latest technology and also not actually doing it from one end to the other, we will be actually doing the work at 6 places. So we are following a new paradigm in the metro constructions so that we can complete the entire thing in 24 months. So our idea is that by 2025 December, the train should run in the second page, which is connecting the city to the info park, which is actually a techie line. We call it a pink line because the predominance of women to travel, when techies are mostly staying in the city, they have to travel. So that is one. It is also connecting the smart city. That is the 11 stations. Now, good thing about Trivandrum, because Najib is actually worried that whether I will not say that. I will certainly say this. So you will get, Trivandrum will certainly get a metro. We have already done every work. So it will be actually the lengthwise when the CMP was made and the minister took the meeting of the CMP, that is Comprehensive Mobility Plan. It is 40 kilometers and it is a loop, so that from the beginning we have taken care of your airport. So people can check in from Paravangadi to the airport. So this kind of things we have planned it. It is all things which are taught, and there is also the board approval is there, the political approval is there. So only thing is that there was only a problem of some gradients, because unlike Kochi, Trivandrum is little hilly, ups and downs are there, and some turnings are there for the sharp curves and other things to be negotiated. So the DMRC, which is doing the actually, which did the project report 2019, they are actually modifying that considering the new data which has come out in the Comprehensive Mobility Plan done last year. So now we will be doing this one, and we will be just like according to the particular guidelines of the Government of India about the metro policy. It will be the similar metro just like Kochi. So it will be, but as I said that probably the length will be a little more. But only thing is that Najib and other people should ensure that sir is actually saying that after 8 o'clock whether there will be passengers in Trivandrum. I said that okay, that we have to take care. You have to make the actually evening life better so that people will take metro. Otherwise, at 8 o'clock, no company can actually afford to run it and close it at 8 o'clock. It should run up to 12 o'clock, like in Cochin. Okay, that is part. Now, the best thing what is happening now, a little serious note. Look, it is a very delicate sea, whether this is actually eco-friendly but eco-fragile also. When we actually design any traffic system, what is happening that we must say that whether we are building it for our future, like our grandchildren, whether they will enjoy or they will say curse their grandfather saying that you made a stupid system. So this is actually sometimes actually retards the growth and quickness in implementing the project, because then we do, as we are having a critical educative society, they are critical that these are some of the things. I'll give an example. We are spending almost 250 crores in bringing the NMT, that is non-motorized transport. It means that we will have a lot of footpaths, so good footpaths that we have seen abroad, in maybe Europe or anywhere, people to walk. So walking is good, and there should be dedicated cycle tracks so that motorized vehicles you don't use. So we are spending almost 250 crores for this city so that maximum number of places and important places like Sahodarayapan Road and all will be having beautiful, walkable, enjoyable footpath with benches, kiosks and kind of things with good lighting. Similarly is the case between Alua to Edappalli. Edappalli to Kalluru we have already done. So this actually will change the shape of Kochi. And the same NMT also will be actually implemented in Trivandrum also, because that is a part and parcel of the package. So we are also working out what will be the cost, etc. in Trivandrum. That is also being on the, I mean, our job is on there. So that NMT funds is not a problem. Everyone wants to actually pump in money for the NMT because it is important environmentally, sustainability-wise, everything. Now, what actually Usha indicated in her intro is this: whether I can travel in any mode of public transport without any hassle. If you say that I go to the metro station and there is a queue of some, I have to stand in the queue and it will take 20 minutes to get a ticket. If I go to the water metro and it takes 1 hour to get a ticket, then you will say that it is better to travel in my own vehicle. By 2047, as per the Government of India's declaration and Honorable Prime Minister saying that by 2047, the private vehicles are for emergency only. All the people are supposed to travel in public transport. If that be the case, that should be that good, like in Singapore. So it is so good that everybody actually travels there in public transport. So for that, most important thing is that there should be one instrument. Like in London, there is a day pass. You buy a day pass, you can travel in metro, you can travel in tram, you can travel in anything except for taxi. So similar thing, we have gone a little actually ahead of that. What we have done now, not only this particular instrument is, instrument is being brought, we have already did the pilot and it is working now in a limited way, that you don't have to actually buy physically a day pass. You just actually download a QR code. And on that, you can travel in water metro, you can travel in metro, you can travel in auto rickshaws, you can travel in buses. So we have now done this. This is working fine in respect of around 30-40 buses and around 50 auto rickshaws, auto metro and this. Now you buy a ticket also for the water metro, you can travel in metro also. This is interoperability we have already ensured. That too should be, so if at all physical instrument is there, it is actually cumbersome. I don't carry my wallet. If I carry my wallet, half of the time I forget. So everybody actually loves to carry the phone. So in the phone, if you are having a downloaded QR code, that can actually operate in any of the neutralization by AFC or whatever. It is possible and we have actually done that. That is going to be the game changer. Now, ONDC, which is the most important platform, I can say, is that most important program, I should say, it's not a platform. And they are integrating all services, food to beverages to agricultural products to transport to everything. So now, they have now tied up with Google. 3 or 4 days back, I saw a news. The ONDC actually had the Yatra app in first time in the whole country. It is actually any kind of payment can be done through that particular app. They then did it in Bangalore. So what I am saying is that technologically we are certainly little ahead of others. Whether it is in Kochi, whether it is Calicut or something, because basically our people love technology. So Chris Gopalakrishnan sir is here, so he will be telling better things than what I am. We are certainly a little ahead in terms of use of the technology for our day-to-day life. So that is the beauty of Kerala. I told in some interview that it is, I feel that I am staying in Europe, in some country. It is a fact, I did not exaggerate. You see, all the systems are there. You go to the KIMS hospital, they look after you just very professionally. Not only that, you go to any other, actually, healthcare unit, you take the healthcare, the best. The electricity. I said that internet is available on the top of a hill in Kerala, which is not there anywhere. You talk about the statistics, any part, it is good. Our infant mortality and all these things are better than even some of the European countries. If this is the base, we should be the best. And we should for that, attracting investors, etc., should be automatic. But there are certain negatives which every one of us know. But that negative feeling should go. And then only actually we'll say this kind of seminar or the discussions, deliberations will be very fruitful, because it is good to be on the top. And to remain on the top for a long time, we have to work in that particular manner. So thank you very much. And I say that, one small thing I forgot, because this is important for all of us. See, Kerala has a population of around 3.75 crores. We have reached already 1.92 crore vehicles. If we go by like this, another 10 years we will have vehicle is equal to the people. And we don't have that much of road. So better that depend on the public transport now onwards. Tell your children, even if you have a Mercedes car or you have a chauffeur-driven car, you tell that go by metro or go by bus, that is better. It will not only round him up, but will save the earth. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Loknath Behra. Very interesting speech it was, to know about what you're doing and what the prospects are for Kochi. I now call on Mr. Manu Gopalakrishna, Airport Director, Cochin International Airport Limited, to address the gathering.
Good evening, everybody. I represent Kochi International Airport, and I am the airport director of Kochi International Airport. So, actually, it has been told like panel discussion now, okay, in front of the mic. We are not going to issues. Okay. So, the Kochi International Airport, as Madam told, it is the third, in the terms of international traffic, it is the third biggest in India. And now it is fourth in terms of the international traffic, and it is on the 8th or 9th stage on the, if we compare the total passengers. Okay, it was a humble beginning in 1999, where we invested around 300 crore rupees as an initial investment. With that investment, within the 5 years of inception, it has gone on profit. So the dividend has been given to the shareholders. So in this juncture, I want to say that the initial investment, we reduce the initial investment, the cost is being reduced without compromising the quality, then we can have the business take place. That means the dividend can be given within a few years of time. It does not mean that quality is being compromised. So what we did was, at the time, we introduced KITCO to this aviation industry. If we go ahead with another international agency for the design and the concept stage, then it should have been more the expenses. So my appeal to the community, the business community, is that whenever possible, please make it indigenous. It will add value, as well as the cost can be decreased. The second case of Kochi International Airport, if we want to highlight, is the rehabilitation package. The rehabilitation package is better, I mean, it is being admitted by the Harvard University, the Singapore Aviation Academy as well. So at that time in India, no other business entity has not got that mechanism of a rehabilitation package. I need to add on that in the sense all the evictees has been rehabilitated properly. At least one employee, one evictee has been employed in Kochi International Airport is the concept at that time. And thereafter, after the progress, and again the sustainability also never been compromised. You may be knowing, no, Kochi International Airport is the first and the only one airport in the world that has been with the solar energy. So as Bahra told, we need to consider the environment as well while designing a new business, or when we go ahead with the business processes. So the sustainability is a factor where we need to consider during the business. And again, the stress point is like, if we give something to the environment, it need to be the environment need to give back also. See, any industry will be giving some environmental impacts on the community. So by corporate social responsibilities of that organization, we need to give it back to that community. That aspect also we need to consider. So example, for Kochi International Airport, the noise or the air quality, that is a factor because the emissions of the aircraft is a factor, is an issue to the community. So what we did is a better infrastructure, better ground, better lighting system to the community is given back through the corporate social responsibility. So whenever a business happens, we need to consider this aspect also, the social responsibility of that business entity. And it is the responsibility of that environment or that community to give it back also. So the thing is like, see, any construction or any issues that may hinder the safety or the secure nature of the airport is being hindered, it should not happen. So the community has to build constructions, or it should not do anything that is harmful to the aircraft operation should not be done by the community. That aspect is also there. So the sustainability, the business opportunity is being very highlighted by the Kochi International Airport in every aspect of its, starting from the inception onwards. And presently, we are going ahead with the 7 major projects and with an investment of 1,000 crore in the recent future, thinking of the future around 10 years in time. So it will, if you consider the Kochi International Airport is giving employment around 12,000 people directly and around double the numbers indirectly also. So any entity, if it sustains, if it makes profit, the employability scope of that organization will be very much. So as business entrepreneurs, you need to do things, as I told, without compromising the quality, as far as possible the indigenous, keep the sustainability in mind, then the business will boom and the business will be having a greater social aspect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manu, for talking about the achievements of Cochin International Airport, your challenges and how you have overcome it, even leading it to be a case study in the top universities of the world. Okay, next on our panel is Mr. Praveen Thomas, CEO DP World. He has a presentation, I'm told. Okay, so please go ahead.
I'll use this. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Usha Titus, Sri Loknath Bera, my fellow panelists, Sri Manu, Sri Rajesh Gopalakrishnan, other esteemed speakers and panelists in the audience, and ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank FICCI for this opportunity to be here today. I represent, as Dr. Titus said, DP World. And we run the container terminal here in Vallarpadam, in the neighborhood. And I thought I'll take these few minutes available for me here today to just tell you how your favorite container terminal has progressed since its inception, and what we plan to do for the future. The theme of the event being pioneering growth, transforming Kerala. So just taking a few steps back, talking a little bit about history. Historically, ports have played a very important role, obviously in trade, but not just trade. Ports have played a big role in bringing continents together, even bringing civilizations together. So the coast of Kerala, known as the Malabar Coast in history, has had trade relations with Arabia and China for thousands of years. The first European explorer, the first European to ever land in India, landed on the coast of Kerala. So this history and legacy, I think, plays a very important role in the success of any port. And I think that is the story of Cochin. So I don't think many people, even the logistics industry, realize that the first container ship to ever berth at an Indian port happened in the port of Kochi on the 23rd of November, 1973, when the American President Lines container ship, President Tyler, berthed here. So I say container because container shipping, for those who are not familiar with shipping, container shipping is how most of the goods which are transported, the majority of the goods transported worldwide through ships, travel in container ships. So Cochin eventually went on to have India's first transshipment terminal and also the first container terminal to be based in a special economic zone in India. So DP World was entrusted the responsibility of building this transshipment terminal at Vallarpadam across the channel from Wellington Island, where the existing port was running. This was something like 16 to 17 years back. Construction started around 2005, 2006, and completed in 2011. And since then, this terminal has been operating at Vallarpadam. So we had a very slow start in the initial years, various reasons behind it, but happy to report that at least since 2016, the port and the terminal has registered a double-digit growth since then. One of the biggest USPs any exporter and importer, I'm sure there are many exporters and importers here who look forward to from any port, is that when you ship your cargo through a port, it needs to reach your buyer in the fastest manner possible. And that is possible when you have direct ships. A ship takes your cargo from origin to destination. So at the moment, as I speak, more than 50% of the cargo which exits Cochin goes on a direct mainline vessel. We have vessels which go to Colombo as well. but the majority of the export-import cargo moves on a direct sailing directly to destination. And as of the year 2022, we are, in terms of volume, the second largest container terminal in South and East India. Of course, the largest container ports in India are in the western part of India, Nhava Sheva and Mundra. But in South and East India, ICT is now number 2. I think we'd like to thank the trading community in Kerala, in South India, and the trade, the shipping trade in Kerala and in Cochin especially, for the port and the terminal to reach this position. If you see the second, the first column there called vessels, while we're number 2 in the total number of containers handled, in the total number of ships handled, when we say vessel in shipping parlance, it's a ship. Cochin has the maximum number of ships handled per annum, so by far the largest. So the question comes up, why Cochin? How is Cochin still relevant? This is a season in which there is a lot of talk about new ports, new container terminals coming up in the state, in the neighborhood. It's all over the news. So why do we still talk about Cochin? There is no vibrant economic ecosystem around the port. The port cannot generate cargo out of thin air. So usually we see a lot of media hype whenever there's a new port project. When Cochin came up, it was said that the city of Cochin will become Singapore. And I think the latest trend is that Trivandrum will become Shanghai. But I think we need to be a little careful with expectations. What we lift up on a pedestal very high, if we drop them tomorrow in the same way, I think that's not going to be good for the project. We have to have a little patience with the new projects which are coming up in the state. So, again, talking about ports. There's a lot of talk about draft. You need a deep draft. You need the latest infrastructure to become a successful port. But these are just one or two things. There are many other things which go into the functioning of a successful port. So you need to be, first of all, close to the international sea routes and the ports to which you're acting as a hub port. You need to have connectivity. It's just not enough to have a deep draft and the cranes, but you need somebody to run the ships which connect you from your port to all the neighboring ports to carry the cargo. Even if you have all this, none of your customers are going to come here unless you have competitive pricing for your charges. And when I say competitive, mind you, I'm not saying cheap. It has to be value for money. You need to have the best productivity. The ships and the trucks which come to your port, you need to be able to turn them around in the least possible time, in line with international standards. You need to have a certain amount of cargo in your neighborhood for you to service them. Of course, you need to have the infrastructure, and you also need to have the capability to scale up your capacity as and when the requirements of the trade change. And last but not the least, a port's not an island, and pardon the pun. It doesn't exist by itself. There are a lot of allied facilities around the port which make a port successful. So let's take a look at Cochin, around where Cochin stands. Cochin is quite close to the international sea route. As you can see on the map, the green line represents the biggest sea route in the world from Far East to Europe. The yellow line represents the Far East to Middle East trade route. We are quite close to the international sea route. There's minimal deviation for a ship to reach Cochin. Of course, there are other ports which are sometimes a little closer, sometimes a little further, but by and large, Cochin is very well positioned to service international trade. Now, especially to function as a transshipment hub, it's very important for a port to be close to the other ports which it serves. When you say transshipment, you basically bring cargo from other ports into your port to load onto the motherships. So Cochin is actually the best located port in India. It's got the least average nautical distance from all Indian ports. The next is about connectivity. Now, Cochin, I'm very proud to say, is the best connected Indian port in India. We have connectivity to ports right from the northwest part of India, starting from Mundra, and all the way up to Haldia on the northeast part. And we have weekly, sometimes multiple services connecting Cochin to all these ports. And this is in addition to the services which are there to Colombo, to Jebel Ali, and all the international destinations. I'm just talking about connectivity within India. And what this enables is that it not just enables us to carry export-import cargo, it enables us to carry a lot of domestic cargo as well on the sea route. So something which I'd like to highlight here is that we handle about 7.5 lakh containers per annum in the port, but not a single container of that moves by water within Kerala. Kerala is one of the states with one of the longest coastlines, one of the longest inland water networks in the country. But every single container which comes into Vallarpadam goes out of Vallarpadam either by rail or by road. And I think Mr. Bera spoke about how many vehicles Kerala has per capita and how congested our roads are, the limitations we have in terms of land to build more roads. There is a need, I think, for all of us, with the state government included, to look at ways to transfer a lot of this cargo onto water, to travel to our minor ports as well as to our inland water terminals through the backwaters. Now, Cochin's reach to the cargo. So you see a certain list of locations here. They're all outside the state, in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Cochin is well positioned geographically, and these are all the important industrial clusters in South India. And the cargo from all these put together amounts to close to 1 million containers. And that is the market for Kerala. So what we've also seen over the last few years is that more and more as a port, we are dependent on cargo which comes from other states. The industrial base in the state of Kerala is not growing. It needs to grow further. The industrial base is still very much agri-based as it was in the past. And even some of these agri-based industries like tea or coir have actually moved out to neighboring states for various reasons. So in terms of infrastructure, in the second column, you see our current configuration, which is we have a capacity of about 1 million TEUs, and we expect to go to 2 million TEUs in the next 2 years. In fact, that process has already started, where we expect to have, with the support of Cochin Port and the Ministry of Shipping, Government of India, we expect to increase the draft to 16 meters. We hope to be able to handle vessels, ships from 10,000 containers to 21,000 TEUs capacity, and provide berth productivity, BMPH, on par with the best in the world to handle the largest ships in the world. As part of our terminal infrastructure, although the arrival of cranes down south has created a lot of noise in the media, but we've also got our cranes in the recent past. It did not make that much of news. We got 4 of our electric RTGs already arrived in October, and we're getting 2 state-of-the-art ship-to-show Megamax cranes in about a month's time, and that kickstarts our infrastructure expansion of our second phase. So I spoke about the need for a port to be successful to have allied facilities. It's not just enough to have a port. So if you look at Cochin, you can see that we have bunker facilities. So in shipping, bunker means fuel. So we have BPCL, IOCL, LNG. LNG is probably one of the first LNG terminals in India. We have a single point mooring system 20 kilometers off the Cochin coast to berth the big oil tankers. We have bulk and liquid handling facilities in Wellington Island. We, of course, have I think, by far the best shipyard in India, possibly in Asia, Cochin Shipyard. We have Cochin International Airport, and also we will have a free trade warehousing zone coming up inside Vallarpadam shortly. So, talking about transshipment, the Indian government has earmarked 3 ports as transshipment hubs in India. One is Cochin, the second one is Vizhinjam, and the third one is coming up in Nicobar. I'd also like to talk about a new project which we're coming up with, which is called a free trade warehousing zone. And this is coming up inside the terminal. This is going to be the first free trade warehousing zone in Kerala. And it's also going to be the first free trade warehousing zone inside a port. And this is coming up within the terminal in Vallarpadam. It is basically a free trade warehousing zone is supposed to enable free trade. It is within the geographical limits of the country, but it is outside the regulatory limits of the country. So it's supposed to enable free trade. Many of the procedures which we have to follow during import-export, they are liberalized inside a free trade warehousing zone. It's expected to start in a few months, and we hope that helps the trade, the trading community in Kerala to increase its worldwide reach. In terms of, we are also very mindful of being a very sustainable port. Currently, we have about 15% of our power requirements supplied by solar energy. We expect to take it close to 100% in the coming years. And this would be, we hope to be the greenest port in South India. And that is a very important criteria for any customer buying cargo, especially with customers based in Europe. A little bit about DP World. We have 5 terminals in India. The 6th terminal is coming up in Kandla. And in India and globally, we have transformed over the years from just being a ports and terminals company to a full-fledged inland logistics company. Globally, we're present in about 75 countries, employ about 1 lakh of people, and present in most of the continents, in big countries, developed countries like Canada and China, but also in little-known countries like Senegal and Somaliland in Africa. DP World also is an end-to-end logistics service provider, and we provide these services in conjunction with our customers, the freight forwarders, the shipping lines, the customs brokers, and the trade. And finally, that's our aspiration to be the most preferred gateway for South India, which I think we are kind of there, and also to be one of the leading transshipment terminals for South Asia itself. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Praveen. Very informative, especially your upcoming projects of free trade warehousing zone. He raised 2 issues. From policymaking viewpoint, he said there should be a strong industrial base for the transshipment terminal to be more vibrant. And he also said that our inland waterways need to be improved for moving cargo. Thank you. So now our next panelist, our final panelist is Sri Rajesh Gopalakrishnan, Chief General Manager, Cochin Shipyard. So Cochin Shipyard is the largest shipbuilding and manufacturing facility in India. The company has a mini Ratna status. The CSL bond rating is AAA due to a healthy order book. All of us were proud when they got an international export order for 2 vessels from a European client with an option to build 4 more in a year's time. So maybe in your speech, you can focus on how Cochin Shipyard has actually achieved such a stupendous growth located in Kerala, Kochi. What are the challenges going forward? And how the local industry and the local economy has responded to Cochin Shipyard's goals ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Respected Usha ma'am, Bera Saab, my co-panelists, Sri Manu, Sri Praveen, industry leaders, and colleagues and friends from the business environment here, and dear friends. Uh, First of all, let me assure you that I do not intend to take you through any boring presentation. I have just put up a few slides because I thought I should show you some photos of what we do, because just photos, because a lot of people have always asked me, there's something sitting in the heart of the city, there are big walls around it, we really do not know what's happening behind those walls. So with that, let me just quickly tell you that I'm from Cochin Shipyard Limited, and what we really do is shipbuilding and ship repair, if I were just to mention the key verticals. But I also like to tell you that a shipyard which is sitting in the heart of your city is today, we have actually spread out, and we have made sure, there are clear footprints of ours globally. So I'll just quickly take you through initially a few slides on what we do, and then I think I'll spend a few minutes on the real topic of the day, that is, what little we are trying to do to, as part of our efforts to transform not only, our business, but also the state as well as the country. So as a corporate, we are fairly well spread out on the east and west coast. We have around, the headquarters is in Kochi. We have around 6 units, and that includes 3 business units in Bombay, Kolkata, and Port Blair, and 2 wholly owned subsidiaries, one in Kolkata and one in Udupi in Karnataka. On the shipbuilding side, these are the wide variety of ships that we have built. It includes a lot of types of ships, and let me also tell you that currently we are building some of the highest technology ships being currently built in the world. And this is the key slide, which will be interesting for people. For all of you to see. The picture on the middle is wind farm's construction support vessel, which is a really high-end vessel, and I think just a couple of yards in the world which are currently building this, and we are proud to say that Cochin in one corner of India is one of them. The picture on the top left is envisaged to be the world's first hydrogen fuel cell propelled container vessel, and it's been contracted, and we are in the design phase. And all these ships, for information, are for West Europe. So we are doing a lot of deliveries into Europe. I'm not spending time on the other vessels, but the one on the left bottom is probably one of the world's largest dredgers that is being built, and we are building it in collaboration with Netherlands. Just a quick look, and this is an answer to ma'am's question also. How do you manage it? When you say we are delivering hardcore engineered manufactured products into West Europe, Kerala is of course known for our quality of services. Our services industry is top end, but when you're talking about a hardcore manufactured product into West Europe, the demands of quality and the demands of time are extremely harsh, and it's not that we were able to do it overnight. It took a lot of effort. It took a lot of collaboration, and it took a lot of teaming up to each year. And what you see on screen are a few snapshots of the interiors of the vessels that we deliver. And when we get repeat orders, and by now we would have delivered close to 50, 60 ships into Europe and US, it is evident that we are able to match the quality levels. We are also active on the defense front, and the most prestigious project in recent times, India's first indigenous aircraft carrier was built in Cochin, and this actually made us the 5th country in the world with the capability of designing and constructing an aircraft carrier. We also do a lot of other defense projects. Berasa was actually mentioning about, and I think Praveen also mentioned it. See, the thing is a lot of road transport. Do we have solutions for coastal and inland water transport? Yes, and a few of them on your screen. We are by far the largest ship repair company in India, and again, all types of ships, offshore vessels, rigs, etc. and multiple units across India. Now let me come to the topic that was a quick overview of what CSL is into. What are we doing? I think this is a slide which I wanted to spend a minute on, and in fact, Bera Sab has spoken about it already. And Cochin Shipyard was actually privileged to be part of this project. But I think the whole credit of the Kochi Water Metro should go to KMRL, because an entity who conceived something like this, and when nothing like this was available, and we came in by way of a global tender. We managed to get the contract for the construction of these vessels. And so today, there's a sentence in red, I think, which I can read out. Today, our Kochi Water Metro service is the world's single largest fleet of hybrid electric ferries under one entity, just with the 23 vessels which we are currently, So kudos to KMRL and the whole thought process behind that. And the ultimate aim, Bera Sahab would forgive me for actually revealing this, I think is around 70 vessels. And in that case, I think we are far ahead of the rest of the world. So this is under one entity, and these are pure electric vessels. It can run on hybrid mode. So we have a backwaters, which is, these vessels are zero pollution vessels. And so I think a lot of things. So these sort of transformations happening in our backyard. Do we actually realize that? Do we understand that? This is one point. Another point is, why I showed you all these pictures of, huge ships being built, manufactured. See, I've been in this organization for the last 28 years, and one question which keeps propping up always when I travel is that, there is a perception. There's a perception that, Kochi, Kerala, does something happen there? And especially when you talk about a labor-intensive industry that you're working in. Let me again make the statement loud and clear. Cochin Shipyard, for the last 33 years, there's not been a single day of strike by our employees sitting in Kerala. So this is what Kerala is all about. So, and this is all, I think, why such, interactions are important is because we have a lot of youngsters sitting in the crowd. See, this is the belief that we should have in our system. There's a belief that things really do happen. And it's not that we're building for our own industry. It's not that we're building for our own set of, close group. We are building for the world, and India is delivering. Today, when I showed you that wind farm vessel, let me also tell you that is one of the first vessels in the world which will probably run on methanol fueled engines, and those engines are being built in India, in Aurangabad. So there is a lot happening. There is a lot of positivity. There is a lot of transformation that is happening. And we are trying to do a bit, not only from this technology point of view. One clear decision that we have taken internally in our company is that whatever we do henceforth, whatever we move into new areas, it will be sustainable. We will look only at sustainable solutions. So when you look at all those vessels, we are currently building India's first fully indigenous hydrogen-fueled ferry, which is something we are actually using the metro platform. And this is almost ready. In about a month's time, I think we will come out and declare this to the world. There are hydrogen-fueled vessels, small vessels flying around the world, pilot projects which have come out, but we took a decision that our vessel would be 100% indigenous. So today, our vessel will come out with an indigenous fuel cell, indigenously designed powertrain, everything. So within a month, we hope to be able to come out and showcase this to the world. And these are small things which we are trying. While yes, there is business in it, there is also a lot of, country perspective, state perspective, everything in it. A few other examples of what little we are doing to transform, the sector. We're actually building a new large dry docks. And now this, why I mentioned this is, infrastructure. We were talking about infrastructure. Infrastructure is something that we really need to have. So Cochin Shipyard is actually investing close to 3,000 crores in hardcore infrastructure augmentation in Kochi, in Kerala. Now this dry dock, which is around 1,800 crores, is is going to be the largest dry dock in India, and it would be the only dry dock in India, operational dry dock in India, which can dry dock huge rigs and jackup rigs and offshore structures, because we do not have any operational dock in the country. And this is going to get commissioned in December, in 2 months' time, and it will become fully operational by mid of next year. Another project which I want to mention is the government of India in 2021 promulgated the Maritime India Vision 2030. Now that actually has set some targets. It is actually it envisions that India would break into the top 10 shipbuilding countries in the world, and it would break into the top 10 ship repair and conversion countries in the world. And as part of this, the Maritime India Vision document also talks about setting up ship repair clusters. And I'm happy to report that the first ship repair cluster is going to come up in Kochi. And as a shipbuilding entity, what we are trying to do as part of it, we have the privilege to play a lead role in the development of this structure, this cluster. So what we are trying to do is set up the ship repair infrastructure from our side, the ecosystem, the backup ecosystem. The state government is extremely keen to support this cluster. The state government is extremely keen on setting up maritime parks. This cluster will need backup ecosystems in the sense that we will need ancillary parks, we will need hospitality hubs. So this cluster will come up on Wellington Island, and the ship repair facility part of it is what we are working on. And I'm also again happy to report that. Yeah, so this is broadly the layout of the cluster development plans in the Wellington Island. Yeah, so this is what we are working on. This is what we call the International Ship Repair Facility. It is being set up in Wellington Island. And this again, yeah, this is the real-time photograph of this facility. And this again is being commissioned in 2 months' time in December, and it will be fully operational by the middle of next year. So this is based on what is called a ship lift system, where the ships can be lifted and put up on shore. And we are also shortly coming out with RFPs for international collaboration for these facilities. So these are infrastructure augmentation projects that we are taking up, which as all of you know, shipbuilding, ship repair, these are all industries with multiplier effects. So even today, as of today, on any given day, we have around 7,000 footfalls in our organization right at the heart of Kochi. So with all these facilities and additional infrastructure coming up, there will be a lot of employment generation, and there will be a lot of backup ecosystem related economic growth. So these are small transformative steps that as an organization we are trying to do from our side. And what just to answer what ma'am was also asking, the general ecosystem in the state, in and around Kochi, has been extremely supportive, and that's one reason why I said we've been able to function without any major hindrances. And so I think it's all very bright. It looks very bright. Things are all on track, and it's only the belief that all of us need to have in the system to understand that we are really moving, and we are moving at a really fast pace. Sorry for rushing through. There are certain other things which I think I can mention.
Mr. Rajesh, the minister is coming
so
online.
I'll just stop short now, and thank you for the patient hearing, and happy to take any questions if you have.
I think the Minister for Industries is coming online, so maybe there won't be an opportunity for any questions. So,
yes, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Sri B. Rajiv, is joining us online right now. He was not able to join us for the inaugural ceremony in the morning. He has found the time to join us in the afternoon now. All of you panelists, before you leave the stage, may I please request you to come here and pose for one group picture before you leave the stage, as we wait for the connection to come in as well. Please join me here. Yes. We definitely have to capture this moment of this illustrious panel together. Thank you, Usha ma'am, and thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on stage. We're just taking a moment to connect our Honorable Minister on the screen here. Meanwhile, our next knowledge session is an exciting one for sure, and all our speakers are here waiting to take stage. As you know, it's on Tech for Tomorrow. A stellar lineup indeed, waiting to talk to us. But before that, let's hear what the Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Sri P. Rajiv, has to tell us. As has been mentioned in the morning, Kerala is at the cusp of transformation, embracing technology and innovations. And that's exactly what we are going to delve into. Yes, Honorable Minister is here. Welcome, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you and good evening. I'm extremely happy to be physically present in this conclave on pioneering growth, transforming Kerala, an event organized by FICCI with KSIDC to ignite growth and development in the state of Kerala. Actually, I could not make to be present in the inaugural session of this conclave uh, due to some unavoidable other preoccupation. I had to attend the meeting of Honorable CM and Honorable Chief Justice of Kerala, that is a structured annual meeting. My presence as a law minister is an inevitable thing. Then kindly bear with me for my absence at the inaugural session of this prestigious conclave. I would like to congratulate Vicky for taking this initiative. I could not go through the proceedings of the inaugural this hectic schedule. Kerala's accomplishment on various fronts are indeed noteworthy. Kerala has always been among the most progressive states in India with its sound social development infrastructure and human development indices. Our commitment to justice, social protection, and essential infrastructure is unwavering. With a 96% literacy rate, all of you well aware that a high human development index HDI and excellent physical quality of life, Kerala's appeal as an investment destination is undeniable. Our state is a connectivity hub with 4 airports, 2 major seaports, and numerous national highways. The new seaports coming at Vidiñam will provide immense opportunities for the industry sector in Kerala. We have decided to establish an investment zone at Thiruvananthapuram with a new, with the implementation of a new concept that and pooling. We are
So I think we lost the audio track from there, sir. Just give us a moment.
Is it okay now?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Okay, I have mentioned about the new possibilities for industrialization with regard to the establishment of new port at Vidiñam that will provide immense opportunities for the industry sector in Kerala. We have decided to establish an investment zone in Thiruvananthapuram district with a new concept of land pooling that is a novel initiative by the government of Kerala. Actually, we have decided to pass a new legislation to enable the state government for land pooling for industrial purposes. As per the existing acts, only the local bodies have the power to make this land pooling for their own social purpose. Then I think the new legislation would be give powers to the state government to implement land pooling for industrial purpose also. We are strategically positioned near transnational trade corridors, and our infrastructure is tailored for higher economic growth and a superior quality of life with 100% mobile density and 80% of e-literacy. Uh, one family out of four families, one family is owned a car in the state of Kerala. The automobile density is very high. We provide an environmental conducive to both individuals and business. Kerala was an early mover in the electronics sector of India with the launch of television by Keltron. We had established Keltron in 1973, almost same as the uh, establishment of electronics industry in South Korea. The first television to be manufactured in India by Keltron. Kerala is also the first state in the country to set up a company dedicated to electronics, that is Keltron. Kerala has established the first IT park in India at Thiruvananthapuram, the Techno Park, and also Kerala is a leader in state in food processing. Is home for 75% of India's EU certified seafood units, and also Kerala is the spice processing hub of the world. The first three world leaders of oleoresin manufacturers are from this small state Kerala, and 20% of the annual turnover of the medical device industries are contributing by this small state of Kerala. And also Kerala is the second largest producer of cocoa and black pepper, ranked first in cardamom, and third largest producer of coconut, second largest producer of coffee, and fourth largest producer of tea in the country. Kerala has excelled in the ease of doing business, ranked 15th as per the State Business Reform Action Plan 2020. We lead the way in fostering a robust startup ecosystem and are at the forefront of e-governance and export preparedness. Actually, we have launched several initiatives to support entrepreneurs and investors, including the Meet the Investor program and a toll-free number for continued support. The 1st of November, we have notified an amendment to the existing rules for providing temporary building number to the new MSMEs, are same as the acknowledgement number of the case shift. We have established help desk at various levels, MSME clinics, and investment facilitation cells. All our services and schemes are now accessible online. Actually, there is a presumption that some of the speakers, now I got a report that some of them speakers also raised some apprehensions. There is a presumption that Kerala is not an investor-friendly state. That is far away from the reality. Now I just heard the remarks of the representative of Shipyard. Shipyard made a history, and the country also made a history by building the first indigenous aircraft carrier, Vikrant. That is a Make in India project, but it is a Made in Kerala project. He has mentioned just now that there are no interference for their activity, including building up this ship and other activities. All trade unions are very strong and active in Cochin shipyard, but not a single day is lost due to any strike for the building of this historic, not only for this historic ship, the Vikrant, but other projects also. Yesterday, the former executive director of refinery has mentioned that their project 16,500 mega project, the scheduled period for completion was 52 weeks, and there is not a single day loss due to any band, hartal, or any other activities. 24/7 work at Kochi Refinery BPCL. The government has established a committee consisting of the representatives of the trade union, management, and labor department. They didn't lose a single day for this project, and they could finish that project before time. Nobody had an opportunity with regard to an attempt or attack to any multinational companies and has created 450 rupees loss like iPhone attack to iPhone factory, never from state of Kerala. In some states, the general manager was shot dead in a textile factory. In another factory, one HR head was stabbed and killed by the protesting workers in the capital. And I would not like to mention the names of the state. These things never happen in the state of Kerala. But the difference is these things are not coming to the media with regard to other states. But all small things are very familiar to all over the world if it is with regard to the state of Kerala. The situation is totally different. Actually, the reality is far away from the presumption or the propaganda made by some sections. Today's newspaper, Indian Express, Malayalam Manorama, if you could see in the business pages, the investment in Kinfra that is more than 1,100 crores of rupees in this year itself, and also the development of startup system in Indian Express and IT, other startups also are progressing. I would like to go to all other details, but Kerala is the best place to work. We can work 24/7 at any climate, and you can eat anything you like, and you can wear any dress. Very good atmosphere. Few days back, I was in Delhi. The index of the pollution is 580. In Kerala, it is always around 50. These differences should be noted. And IBM, 1 year back, they had started their operations at Kochi. I was there at the inaugural function. At that time, the vice president present in that inaugural session, he told me that their plan is to consider this as a pilot project with the recruitment of 100 professionals. But after completing 1 year, he came back to Kerala and we met. He said they had already recruited 1,700 people, and 200 out of these 200 are coming from United States and some other countries, European countries, and Bangalore. He had coined a team. The reverse migration is happening in the state of Kerala. This is the term used by the vice president of IBM. All big IT companies are present in the state of Kerala. We have some limitations. Our land is very less. 1% of the land is here, but the highest number of five-star hotels are in this small state, 46, and Maharashtra is the number 2 with 40 five-star hotels. Kerala is the number 1, not only in five-star hotels, 4-star hotels and 3-star hotels. This is a must-see place in the world, recognized by different international credited agencies. Recognizing our limitation and our advantage. Our advantage is highly skilled human resources and this new climate and other social indices. And we have tried to transform the state of Kerala as a destination for ESG investment, environmental, social governance investment. Recently, we have adopted the draft policy of ESG investment. Now we have adopted the new industrial policy 2020 to 23. We have a vision to create an industry 4.0 ready industrial ecosystem by 2027. Recently, the Digital University had trained more than 20,000 youth in machine learning and blockchain technology. Kerala has started the first digital university of the country. Recently, Honorable Prime Minister had laid the stone for the first digital science park at Thiruvananthapuram. We have decided to start 2 other science parks at Kochi and Kannur. And we have a vision to create an industry 4.0 ready ecosystem by 2027. I think Mr. Suman Billa, the Principal Secretary, will present the specific features of this new industrial policy. 7 pillars will guide our efforts, encompassing infrastructure development, skilling, investment promotion, and research and development. We have identified 22 priority sectors. Recognizing all the objective realities prevailing in the state of Kerala and evaluating our advantages and disadvantages, we have identified 22 priority sectors with a vision to transforming the society to a knowledge-based society and a knowledge-based industry. And we have our incentives for investors, including SGST refunds, 100% refunds of state component of GST, investment subsidies, employment enhanced initiatives, stamp duty exemption, all things will be might be included in the presentation. And also, Kerala is a home to 147 plus sector focused industrial parks with 3 more under development. We have introduced a private industrial estate with funding support of up to rupees 3 crores of rupees, 3 crores per park, and 15 such park. We have already given permit to 15 such parks, and the first park will be inaugurated the coming Monday at in Palakkad district. A new concept, that is campus industrial park, will also be established in the universities and colleges. That's if the engineering college or university or arts and science college, if they are having land more than 10 acres, then we will give a industrial status, industrial park status. And if it is 5 acres, and if it is below 5 acres, we will give a STF, standard design factory status, to this park, and the students will have the opportunity to work there, and the higher education institution should give a credit or a bonus mark to the students who are working in the same field industry. And our commitment to a streamlined approval process is evident through active single window clearance boards at various levels, the K-Swift online mechanism, and the introduction of composite license for investment over 500 crores of rupees, that is non-MSME industries. We have implemented a centralized inspection system. First time in the country, total inspection system is controlled by a software to further simplify procedures. And the last year we have decided as observing as a year of enterprises with the target of achieving the establishment of 1 lakh enterprises in the state. The initiative was a huge success, with over 1,40,000 MSMEs being registered in the state, and the initiative being selected as one of the best practices in the country during the Chief Secretary's National Conference held in New Delhi during 2023-24. Kerala is aiming of scaling 1,000 small and medium enterprises to achieve a turnover of rupees 1 lakh crores. That is average 100 crore turnover, 1,000 companies. Then 1 lakh crore turnover, 1,000 companies in 4 years with technology adoption and marketing and financial assistance by the government. We have introduced MSME insurance scheme, Kerala brand for quality products and services. An export policy is in the works, and we have drafted the ESG, which I have mentioned earlier. ESG policy is almost ready. We are actively engaging in one-on-one investor meeting with globally renowned companies to usher the investment to the state. The future of Kerala is bright, and we invite you to be a part of this incredible journey towards growth and transformation. Our goal is clear: to promote growth, development, and cooperation in the state of Kerala. We seek to not just showcase the potential of Kerala as an investment destination, but also to explore and create new avenues of cooperation and development with you as we gather at the Pioneering Growth Transforming Kerala conference. Let us collectively work to make Kerala a shining example of RIRI, responsible industry and responsible investment. This is the motto of the government of Kerala. Our guiding motto is ESG-driven responsible industry, responsible investment. Our state is ready to welcome. The doors of opportunities are wide open. Together we can shape the future we envision for Kerala. Thank you, and once again I would like to congratulate Vicky for this great initiative.
Minister Rajiv, this is Dr. Sadullah, Chairman of FICCI. And thank you very much for coming in on behalf of FICCI and all the audience here. I really appreciate that you're coming in, and I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, sir, for joining us and for making the time despite your busy schedule. And thank you, Dr. Sadullah, for expressing our gratitude. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth panel discussion for the day, and it's the exciting theme of tech for tomorrow. In this section, we will dissect the role of emerging technologies, the power of digital transformation, and how Kerala is positioning itself for future. And to moderate this session, we have an illustrious man here, endearingly called GVR. He is the founder CEO of Technopark and a visionary leader who has transformed the IT sector of Kerala. I take great pride in inviting you onto the stage, sir. He is currently the Honorary Director of Center for Autism and Other Disabilities Rehabilitation Research and Education. He has also been the member of the Kerala State Planning Board from 2011 to 2016, and he's also contributed to literature through his book titled Vijaya Valigal and the Technopark Smaranagal. An experienced man with loads and loads of stories to tell. He is the moderator for this session on Tech for Tomorrow. And now, let me also bring on stage our keynote speaker, Sri Chris Gopalakrishnan, co-founder of Infosys, who later served as its Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director. He currently serves as the Chairman of Axelor Ventures. Government of India recognized Chris' contributions and with the prestigious Padma Bhushan Award. And he's also an author, the co-author of the book Against All Odds, the IT Story of India. Also joining us on stage as a panelist, Sri V.K. Matthews, founder of IBS Software. He started IBS in 1997 with one employee, and now it is one of the most successful travel technology companies in the world, serving over 200 clients across 60 cities. Welcome on stage, sir. He's also served on the Executive Council of NASCOM and past chairman of CII Kerala State, currently the chairman of the Group of Technology Companies of Kerala. And finally, joining us as a panelist on stage, Sri Sushant Kuruntil, CEO of Infoparks of Kerala, a veteran entrepreneur in the IT industry with more than 3 decades of experience in leadership, software development, consulting, and entrepreneurship. Like I said, an illustrious panel on the stage indeed, and I now hand it over to the moderator of this session, our dear GVR.
Good afternoon. We are starting a bit late, but I think among us, we've decided that we should stop within time. That's the time that's allocated to us. I'm not going to take much time at the beginning. I'll probably take a few words towards the end, but just a quick thing in terms of when you talk of tech for tomorrow, you're talking of the impact that tech can have on Kerala, learning from experience of the past, and we have a very eminent panel for that. Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan was introduced. You have Mr. V.K. Matthews, Nanthia. So you really have somebody who's driven the sector through. So what we will do is, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan will be the only one who will go there and speak. The others, we will sit here and speak. And we will try not to take too much time and probably get into an exchange on discussions, some points, and try to see whether we get time to open up for all of you to ask some questions. So over to you, Chris, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sahadullah. Thank you, FICCI, for inviting me for this. And of course, VK insisted that I must come for this. Thank you, VK. And it's also an honor to share this stage with Mr. Vijay Raghavan and VK Matthews, two pioneers. Vijay Raghavan, the first technopark in the country. When Technopark came online, it was the only park in the country that was fully set up to plug and play. Only one, nowhere else in the country at that point. And, we talk about products, IBS, every platform I talk about IBS software because it's probably the best unknown software product company from India, but it's from Kerala. I don't know why VK doesn't talk about it much, but I talk about it in every platform that I can. But now, of course, I see some interviews VK is doing with media. The reason I said this is Kerala has been doing very well in IT services, has been doing well in software products, has been doing well in hardware. Two of the best known robotics companies are from Kerala, I believe in Cochin. Asimov Laboratories and Shastra Robotics, right? Again, from Cochin, the startup village was the first incubator, private public partnership incubator. Till then, every incubator was government. In the country was set up in Cochin. The student startup policy first came in Kerala for the entire country. Then it went to other states, Gujarat, etc. So there are many, many firsts. The talent in Kerala is second to none. The industry is here. I asked VK for the numbers, 150,000, 150,000, very high paying employees by the industry across Trivandrum, Cochin, and Kozhikode. So clearly, Kerala has done very well. Now I'll move to what are the opportunities. The IT services industry, even today, is 7 to 8% of the India's economy, continues to grow. In spite of all the ups and downs, continues to grow and is very profitable, very strong with technology changes that are coming in, AI, machine learning and whatnot. Clearly, the industry will continue to grow for many years to come. The product industry is growing in India, and you will see software products as a SaaS service emerging out of India into the global markets. The domestic market is growing. The India Stack story in every platform, people talk about UPI, India Stack, etc. This is a differentiated model which is going to the rest of the world. Many of you may not have heard about MOSIP, which is Modular Open Source Identity Program. 11 countries are implementing it. 100 million IDs have been given using MOSIP across the world. Philippines alone has given 70 million IDs using MOSIP. So that again is going around the world. Now, when you go beyond information technology or beyond digital computing, and you look at biotech with new techniques like the mRNA technology, which created the vaccine. Of course, gene editing, the whole science behind microbiome. There was a session on integrated medicine. All of these things are transforming healthcare, and healthcare is also getting a UPI movement in the sense that we are actually looking at digitizing the entire healthcare. Education is getting digitized. We are now looking at ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce. We're looking at Open Credit Enablement Network. We're looking at a single platform for all credit decisions or debt products across every category of assets that you can think of. So a NBFC or a bank can go to a single place and score the credit rating for a MSME, for an individual, for a farmer, for a cattle loan. They can actually just go to a single platform and score and decide on the debt. And we will also flip it around. So if you want to get a loan in the future, you can actually decide at what interest rate you want that loan, and NBFCs and banks will bid for that. So that's the platform that is being created by the regulators and the finance ministry. And many of these are now becoming global because in terms of digital technology, India is leading the world. Very quickly to Kerala. So whenever such disruptions happen, every industry gets transformed. And I believe that this is a great opportunity because the base has been created in Kerala, right? In terms of presence of IT, in terms of presence of startups, in terms of presence of products and SaaS, in terms of hardware industry, in terms of startup incubators, in terms of the maker village here, and the high literacy rate that's there in the state. And every government has supported both the IT industry and the startup ecosystem in the state. I want to conclude by requesting every one of you to think about a few things I believe we must do in order to take advantage of this opportunity that is provided by a world-class IT services industry, a world-class product industry, a world-class startup ecosystem, and the opportunities that are provided by the disruptive technologies that are coming in. First and foremost, we must continue to support the industry. Government policy must continue to support this industry. It will still be competitive between states to attract industry. This is not going to go away. We cannot sit back and assume that the industry will come. We need very high quality office space. This is going to become even more important as companies push people to come back to work and work out of offices. So high quality office space is required because the perception was created that work from home will happen and office space is not required. That is not true. We will require high quality office space. Third, every academic institution, especially every engineering college, must have a startup ecosystem. We must train students to become entrepreneurs starting from high school onwards. I strongly believe entrepreneurship is a culture that we need to sustain and grow. We need to think about creating more angel investment vehicles. The startups are first funded by angel investors. These angel investors are successful entrepreneurs. They may be small businesses, medium businesses, but they are local. Okay, the first funding for a new business will come from local entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, or local investors. So I strongly believe that Keralites anywhere and Keralites outside the Kerala must invest back into the startup ecosystem and must fund startups in the state. We must create more venture funds and PE funds that are of Kerala, of Keralites. We must create a fund of funds that will encourage VCs to come to Kerala. I know VC funds outside Kerala coming to Kerala because a fund of fund from government of Kerala has invested in that fund. So we must scale that up and we must create more fund of funds that request or require these funds to work with Kerala startups. And last but not the least, the government must be a big buyer of new products and services, must support the startup ecosystem by becoming a buyer of their products. A certain part of government purchase budgets must go towards the products from the startups. At the bottom line, this industry will definitely grow and it will be a sunrise industry for many years to come with all the emerging technologies that are going to disrupt every industry. Be it automotive, transition to electric and transition to other fuel modes, be it education, healthcare, retail, commerce, every industry is going to go through transformation. The AI thing I didn't talk about because I can spend a lot of time talking about it. And this is a necessity for government, for existing businesses, existing industrialists or existing business people, angel investors, to support growth of new businesses to come out of Kerala. The talent is there, but we need to create the incubators that are necessary. And if you do that, we can take advantage and we can actually grow faster than the average growth rate in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris Gopalakrishnan, for that very crisp and very clearly focused points in terms of what we should be doing, especially that the government needs to continue to support the sector as we go forward. I would now request Mr. V.K. Matthews, who most of you know very well, very active in Kerala and Kerala's development. Like Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan said, one of the most closely kept secrets on product. But I'm sure you have all used, I can bet that everyone here has used his software indirectly in some way or the other. Okay, if you've traveled by air, the chances are you've used his software. Or you go to most airports, if you've done a luxury line, you'll find that his software is there. Okay, rather than getting into a speech mode, we thought we get into a discussion. A quick thing from you. One is based on your experience. What is it that Kerala really needs to do to give a further boost to this sector? One. And second is, Tech for Tomorrow is the subject. What kind of technology should we be looking at for the future of Kerala?
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for doing the PR work for IBS, which according to you, I don't do as much. So just maybe I'll take use one or two sentences for that. We are a vertical SaaS software company for the travel industry, and we cover that industry pretty comprehensively. We have over 200 customers worldwide, some of the biggest and the best airlines, airports, cruise companies, hospitality companies, hotel companies, and so on. We operate in 40 plus countries in 60 locations, employing close to 5,000 people belonging to 42 nationalities, because I had to give this answer yesterday somewhere. So that's how our operation. We have acquired close to 10 companies in the past to acquire business domain know-how, and one we are just about to acquire. And when they were talking about the transshipment container one, plus the Kochi shipyard, I was just thinking we acquired Accenture's freight and logistics division, the product part of it. So that's our operation. I don't normally speak about it. Since we don't have a lot of customers in the country, that's pretty okay. So we are still a well-kept secret, quite like Technopark was once upon a time. So, okay, now the first question which Vijay asked, what is it that the state should do to boost the IT and technology industry? That's number one. Second is, what kind of technologies will help us progress? Let me address the first one. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very important for us to know where we are, because if we don't know where we are, no map can help us. So let me just give some sort of a perspective as to where we are in the entire landscape of technology in the world. And then I will also talk about what are the kind of technologies that could be and are important that's impacting. Number one, we may not quite know unless we are reminded that we live, all of us, the world is living in a digital economy, which as of now, according to the latest UN report, is about 23% of the global GDP, which is about $23 trillion in size. And it is growing very fast, rapidly, evolving as well, and it creates massive amount of wealth, unimaginable wealth in rapid time, concentrated in the hands of few countries, China and Japan, China and US predominantly, and few organizations and few individuals even. And the world has created, we have created a very powerful data value chain by firms specializing in collecting, analyzing, processing a lot of digital data to produce intelligence which can be monetized through commercial use. And one important aspect which we involve, and ours is platform. Platformization is the biggest driver of the digital economy. And this economy did not exist until 2007. iPhone came only in 2007. UN first produced the report on digital economy only in 2016. They didn't even produce it until then. The industry that I come from, travel, which dates back to the beginning of humanity, which is only 10% of the GDP, whereas this is now about 23% of our GDP. So this is the context. And if you really look at 7 of the world's largest 8 companies by market cap, 7 of them implement a platform-based business model. So that is the environment in which we work, and that is the opportunity that we have going forward too. And then if I look at our country, both in terms of economic point of view, as well as in terms of opportunities, India is the future of India is very, very bright. According to all scenario planners, for instance, McKinsey chief, the CEO of McKinsey, Bob Stansfeld, when he came here last September, he said it's not India's decade, it's India's century. And this was also supported by the KPMG report for the World Economic Forum, which said that by 2047, when India is 100, India at 100, we will be about $25 trillion in GDP and about 15,000 per capita. And this is the world that we are actually, and Bob Stenfeld talked about it because by 2047, when India at 100, 20% of the world's talent, and that too meaningful talent, will be in our country. And also all of the geopolitical crisis that we see around the world is actually remapping the supply chain, and India can be a benefactor, and which we are seeing. Plus the digitization. Chris talked about it. India is highly digitized for its size complexity and its relatively low GDP even now, and we should be able to leapfrog in our developmental pursuits. So that is India. Digital economy, India. Come to Kerala. And Indian IT industry, Chris talked about we are 8% of the GDP, 50% of exports, and one important point to note is 59% of the global sourcing is from our country. It is $245 billion in size, expected to become $500 billion by 2030. So India, overall economy, technology, the prospects are great. And when we come to the state of Kerala, we should be very proud of, I mean, everybody spoke about it and we keep speaking about it. All of our achievements, whether it is the HDI, which is the leading one, plus the best government states, Sustainable Development Index of 1,300, and number 2 is Tamil Nadu at 800. No poverty or lowest poverty, 0.75%, whereas the national average is 26%. So penetration, internet penetration, all of this we are leading. That's our achievements. And let me also talk about the strengths of the company. So the minister will keep on saying that. I'm repeating. The strengths, and this is from an investor's point of view. I've put a lot of whatever little that I had into the state 26 years back. The strength of the state, talent, number 1. We have the only thing is that our talent is going out. Our migration is not healthy. Number 2, infrastructure, particularly for technology. Thanks to Vijayaraghavan and company, Technopark, Infopark, Cyberpark, never had any problem. I don't think we will have any problem in working from government designated places. Yeah. The third one, the access to the executive and the bureaucracy. I'm not saying they will solve all the problems. For an investor, that access is definitely a reassurance. That is there. And the fourth one, I will again say, is that we are a pretty stable place, politically or socially. We may not be things may be difficult, but it's a pretty stable. This is where I will park. And now with this background, what is it that the government should do for IT industry to flourish? I don't think the government has to do anything other than what Chris mentioned. You don't have to do anything. The only thing the government has to do is, how can the government facilitate work from Kerala? If we can get Kerala to be the finest place to live and work. That's all what is needed. And for that, the government should only do three things. Number one priority, all of these are infrastructure, clean Kerala, meaning waste managed Kerala, Kerala water should be clean, streams should be clean, our backwaters should be clean. Number two, safe Kerala, safe to travel roads, safe to eat food, safe to drink water, safety from disasters. And the third one, digitally enabled Kerala. Make sure that we have the digital infrastructure, because Kerala is not only is digital ready, not only from production, but also from consumption. So if I could see the government having more funds to invest, to create infrastructure. And for that, the government should do less and not more. Government should completely come, governments, even in the best of countries, governments cannot run businesses and commercially competitive. So it is better that the governments do not actually try to create jobs and make money. They just can't. KSRTC, KSIDC, and Air India before, and hundreds of PSUs are examples. Come out of all of those and do what only governments can do. And see, the future of our country and future of our state is the enterprising people. And let them make the money and let the government produce meaningful taxes. That is, successful, profitable companies and well-paying jobs. All of the things that is needed for us to thrive here technologically, people will take care. Companies will take care. Government only should do that. Now, when it comes to technology, there's a question that keeps asking, people ask me, all of the, one of the jobs that I do, and probably the only job that I do in my company now, is go and meet the customers. That's all what I do. Otherwise, the operation is done by the teams. Now, one question they keep on asking whenever they meet, couple of questions they will ask. VK, how is this, artificial intelligence, more so the generative AI, going to affect us? What is it that we should do? So one is, and ChatGPT has actually sensitized it. Not that artificial intelligence did not exist before, ChatGPT actually sensitized it. That's one question that they ask. The other question they ask is, with all of these communication technologies becoming far more better, with 5G and 6G coming probably in 2028, how is our operation going to be, the operating models and things like that? So my answer to this is this. And it's clear, and McKinsey also did a tremendous study and brought out the report last month. The impact of Gen AI, generative AI, on productivity will lead to about 2.5 to 4.5% of the GDP, or $2.5 to $4.5 trillion in size. All of that improvement is going to come in three distinct areas. Number one, customer operations. That means ChatGPT will be able to actually help in managing customer interactions. Number two, sales and marketing. A lot of money, efforts that used to be spent on generating creative content can now be produced by the machine. Number three is the one which is going to really impact all of us. That is software engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing that is going to happen, and that's going to impact all of us, unless we upskill, we will get into difficulty. By prompting properly, we should be able to get considerable part of the code developed by the machine, and the draft code of 50, 60, 70, and when we have our own machines, which we teach our methods and process, the accuracy of the code will be even much more aligned, or the structure of the code will be much more aligned. And the third area which will make maximum productivity impact. And what does it mean? That the jobs of creating code, or the coders or the techies, is going to change to become very good prompters. How exactly you will be able to get, how do you specify your requirements so that you get the code? So AI is going to play a very important role. And with this, and this is our ability to actually process massive amount of data. And this, along with the communication technologies, 5G technologies, this is going to make radical differences. We can have 1,000 times more data volume. We can have 100 times more IoT devices, 100 times faster, and we will be able to actually replace our connection with high-speed internet. And the impact, again, will be on 2-3 areas. And I can think of one very interesting example. If you think of a surgeon in Harvard Medical School doing a surgery in Astor or Amrita or Cochin Ernakulam Medical Center. And he will be able to see with a resolution which is better than our naked eye. He will be able to guide and even perform that operation. The implication of this, that means massive amount of data and our processing ability and extremely powerful. We can have 20 gigahertz. So the 30 to 300 gigahertz is the 5G frequency level. So we can have data transmission up to 20 gigabytes. So Vijay, sorry, I've taken a long round. 2 answers. One, for the government, just to focus on infrastructure, try to get Kerala's vision right. Yeah, that is all what the government needs to do. And when it comes to technology, probably we have to pay a lot of attention to AI and also take full advantage of the communication potential which the new generation communication technologies are giving. Thank you.
Thank you. And just so that we've not scared people around, what is said is AI will not take away anybody's job. It is somebody who will use AI who will take away somebody's job. Yeah. Okay. So very clearly, it is just like, when we said we didn't want computers, okay? It was not that we thought it would lose jobs, but it was those who took over those jobs were people who used computers. And the typical example is our railway stations where at least the older people here will remember 3 counters in Trivandrum. And today you go there, you've got 25, 30 counters. That many more jobs created. Sushant, I know you've been an entrepreneur. And you're now, I don't want to call you an administrator, but you are on this side of this thing. I mean, what do you think? And you're also somebody who's, in a way, I don't want to say new to Kerala, but in the government system with InfoPark. What do you think should be the things that have to change? I know you will have, there are boundaries within which you will need to respond, but it'll be good to give a clear feel of where is it, how do we get people in, how is tech going to play a role in Kerala's development?
So I think we need to change significantly at this point. So sir, when you started Technopark, and then when you grew it, and then when all my predecessors grew InfoPark, so there was a vision with which it went. So we have created some world-class infrastructure here, so that companies can come here and then they can work out of these campuses. But right now, I think we will have to make some significant changes in the way how the parks are looking at, bringing companies over here. So we have to be more of an ecosystem builder as compared to just infrastructure providers. So we have to help companies with the talent, so we have to create talent here, or rather we have to nurture the talent. And then, we have to get into things like social infrastructure. We have to ensure that there is right and social infrastructure for the employees to thrive in this ecosystem. And also we need to even worry about public infrastructure. So anything and everything that a company would want to come and then set up here, so we will have to be a huge stakeholder in that. So along with that, one of the key things that we need to get into is we need to nurture the startups. We need to create, or rather we need to nurture companies that are operating in the parks, and then we need to identify what they do, and then we need to support them. As Chris rightly said, the government will have to procure. So we have to procure from the companies that are operating in in our parks. So we already have a system called government as a marketplace. So that's happening right now. Yeah. So there are many ways in which startups and then organizations can sell it to the government currently. So we need to create that kind of an ecosystem where we help them with everything. And also, as you know, Kerala, traditionally, all the growth happens here. It's predominantly government led, as compared to what is happening elsewhere. So we, as citizens of Kerala, we think that the government has to do certain things, and that is pretty much in our psyche. So that's the reason why government is promoting the startups, government is doing the tech parks and stuff like that, whereas other states do not follow this pattern. So there is nothing wrong with this, but I think we have to be very creative. The government will have to ensure that, so our companies thrive here. So in addition to just providing the infrastructure, we need to look at an overall development of the ecosystem here.
Thank you. Very, very precise, and you've come out with very clear thoughts on that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Chris a question or two, and then we'll open up to the audience, okay? Because it's unfair to have you all sitting there and not getting a chance to asking questions to each other. We can always do.
Ask questions, not
Yeah. No discussions, very specific questions. So just get prepared for that. But I'm going to just ask Chris two, three quick things. One is there's a big discussion on work from home today. Yeah. That's one. The second one, I wanted quick responses, maybe half a minute. The second one is one of the biggest problems that I see, and when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and others in Kerala, is the quality of those leaving our higher education institutions. Okay, you might call for applications, you get 500 applications, you can't get more than 150 to the interview, and then you find you're recruiting one or two. People are finding it very difficult. What do we do on that? So two quick questions on.
So on work from home, see, work from home was important during COVID because we need to sustain our life, sustain our businesses. Now, today it is a capability which should be there as a fallback option. That cannot be the default option. The reason for that is the culture of the company gets built when you are together and when you see each other, how they behave, how they work, how the leadership works. The culture happens in the informal interactions that happen around, let's say, a lunch table or a coffee break. The bright ideas come from people from other departments rather than your own department. That accidental interaction, etc. And hence, every company, every business that works in teams will request you to come to office, and I believe that has to become the default mode. And as I said, as a fallback option, we need to have, because in the future there may be a challenge, we must have the ability to go back to work from home if needed. So we should sustain that by maybe asking people or giving them the option to work maybe one day from home if need be, but the default mode has to be work from office. The second question about quality of resources, see, I strongly believe that the best people from any college, doesn't matter, will actually be very good, right? So we should not have any um, thinking that we should only recruit from certain colleges, etc. But the challenge for companies is how do you find those people, right? So that is why they go for some kind of filtration which says we will only select from certain colleges, we will have a cutoff mark, etc., etc. And this is for ease of recruitment and ease of recruitment processing. Otherwise, there is no way you can actually go through the hundreds and thousands of applications that you come. And this is only for ease of recruitment that they're doing it. But the quality, I believe, is very good across. The best student from any school or any college actually will be good because they have gone through that process and succeeded competitively. And this is proven. Look at Soho's work practices. They work out of Tirunelveli or something like that, and they're using villages. Look at ISRO. I think they have very, very few people from IITs, but it's one of the best, in terms of space exploration and things like that. So we are confusing ease of recruitment with quality. Of course, companies will have to do internal training and enablement because academic institutions will not be at the cutting edge of technology. That will happen in the industry. And so industry will have to invest in training. Um, Industry should also work with now all the states have skill councils or skill enablement initiatives, and I think industry should work with these to help them probably outsource some of their training and things like that. This has to be well thought through, then I think we will find a solution. The solution is not at the educational institution level, but it's at the finishing school or in the industry.
Thank you. Any questions? If you can raise your hand, be very brief. We only have 7 more minutes. So what we'll do is if there are questions, we'll take 2 or 3 questions and respond together. Anyone has questions, raise your hand. Somebody will get a mic to you. There's somebody there who has a question. Can we get a mic? A couple of people there, yeah. Two people. Yeah. Who's got the mic? Good, yeah. Next mic is there. Yeah, please go ahead. You can ask.
First? Yeah, hi. Ajit Mupan here. Question to the panel.
Can we have some lights in the audience, please? Yeah, please go ahead, Ajit.
With the weak economic forecast in US and Europe, and also the war situation in Ukraine and the Middle East, what will be the short to medium-term impact on the Indian technology sector?
So see, the Indian IT industry and B2B industry like VK's business is actually a reflection of the global economy. And so when the global economy slows down, the industry will slow down. But these cycles don't last very long. Typically, they last probably 12 months to 18 months, and then you will see the revival happening. So I'm not worried about it. These are cycles in the global economy, and it will change very quickly.
Maybe I think we'll answer together at the end, maybe. Yeah, please.
Sir, my question to you is that it's focused on Kerala.
We can't hear you clearly.
Yeah, my name is Rajiv Kamath. I'm a high-tech farmer. My question to you is that in Kerala specific, what is our farming sector is going to happen in Kerala? Because in Kerala, once upon a time, we are talking about food basket.
So you're asking what is going to happen to the farming sector?
In Kerala.
Good, great. Another question somewhere? Anyone there? Anyone else? Got somebody raise your hand there? Farming sector. Agriculture in a way. Please.
Good evening, sir. My question is to VK Matthews. Since IBS has completed, more than since 1997, it recently celebrated its anniversary. I would like to ask, what would be the next revolutionizing technology, with respect to IBS?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Good. We'll come back. Or you want to maybe answer that direct question?
Yeah, we completed, so I'm just, that's how I understand the question, that we completed the 25 years and we reached somewhere. And what is the next goal for us? Yeah, we are still travel industry, as I mentioned, is a very, very big sector, 10% of the global GDP. 1 out of every $10 is spent here. There's still a lot of work to be done for us to become the trusted partner of the industry and the partner who can transform the industry. We are on that path and quite successfully on that path. And if all of the plans and the strategies work out, hopefully we should become a player of consequence and support to the industry.
Thank you. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to quickly there one. That'll be the last question we'll take here.
Thanks for the opportunity. We have AI, generative AI, and then what next?
Okay, AI, generative AI, and what next? And what I'm going to do is, along with that, just that question and the farming question which are there, can I request that all the panelists respond to that? And then at the end of that, I think we have only 1 minute each. So just a quick this thing in terms of 2 big recommendations, brief, big bulleted point.
So on the farming, agriculture is also getting disrupted by emerging technologies like IoT. Drones are being used to survey farms. IoT is used to look at all the things from watering the fields to pests and all kinds of things actually. Space technology is used, again, geospatial technology is used for agriculture. The farmers have to be connected to the markets and elimination of the middlemen. Farmers need to come together to create farmer producer organization so that it can scale up and look at more value addition in farming. So there are many technology interventions that are happening in farming. And I believe that the last but not least is think of agriculture as an export industry. India is number 1, number 2, number 3 in many products, many agricultural products. Why are we not exporting it to the entire world such that we can derive 3 to 5 times the value that we get today in the domestic market? Of course, not forgetting our own requirement, but we, I think, produce more than what we need, and we can actually look at it as an export industry. Quickly on what next, I believe that just like AI is a disruption, it's a new paradigm for computing, quantum will be another new paradigm for computing. We are at the beginning of the IoT revolution. We can think of pervasive or invisible computing. Everything that we know will have embedded processors and memory, and that's going to be, if we are saying there are 8 billion people connected to internet, imagine 100 billion things connected to the internet. Everything can be controlled using a phone sitting in remote location, anywhere. Just 2 ideas.
Just half a minute. What is, so the era of AI has just begun. We haven't done anything as yet. The initial pilots are all very compelling, very promising, so the excitement is palpable. We can all understand. But it will take time. It will take time from, it's challenging for the business leaders and social leaders because we also need to contain the risk of AI. We've just started. The era of artificial intelligence has ended the era of enlightenment. Previously, knowledge to certainties, to control, to methods of science. Now it's the other way around. And we don't know how the machine is answering. So more mystery. So I think we have just begun. Keep in mind, it's not a technology revolution. The transformation is cognitive. It's a cognitive transformation that's actually taking place. So we have just begun. So don't say what is next. We haven't even started. Thank you.
So the immediate next is mainstreaming AI. So we have barely scratched the surface here. So I think mainstreaming that and then getting into production, generative AI for businesses, that'll be the next immediate thing.
I'm getting up to say thank you very much. A very eminent panel. We could have had a lot more to discuss, but we thought we should keep time. And thank you very much. We did give you a chance to ask questions, and I think the concluding remarks are all there. It's all been said. You don't need to really conclude that. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Saadullah and Fiki, for inviting me and this panel to be with all of you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jivya, for leading that vibrant discussion. May we request all of you gentlemen to please come to the front of the stage and pose for that final picture of the panel. Let's capture this memory for good. A panel of stalwarts indeed, and I request all 4 of you to please join me here for one final picture. Yes. Once again, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. The fifth and the final panel discussion for the day, ladies and gentlemen, is about entertainment and sports. And this is going to be a vibrant exploration of how Kerala's cultural richness and passion for sports are catalyzing growth. This session is indeed going to be a celebration of the convergence of entertainment and sports as catalysts for change and transformation of our state. And moderating this session is Wing Commander Ragashri D. Nair, who served in the Indian Air Force for 15 years, who's held key positions at some of the busiest and largest air bases. She is also one of the co-founders of Medicaid Ethos Private Limited, also a mentor for Change for Atal Innovation Mission and Niti Aayog as well. It's my privilege to bring on stage Wing Commander, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fifth and the final knowledge session happening on stage, and we have our moderator on stage. Let's hear it from all of you. And taking the stage of Pioneering Growth, Transforming Kerala Conclave once more is Dr. Shashi Tharoor, writer, diplomat, former international civil servant, and the Member of Parliament for Thiruvananthapuram since 2009. He was here with us in the inaugural ceremony, graced us with his words, and now he is joining us as a keynote speaker in this session about entertainment and sports. We know that he is the recipient of several prestigious awards, including the Global Leader of Tomorrow by World Economic Forum, Sahitya Academy Award. Dr. Shashi Tharoor is joining us on stage as the keynote speaker. Also joining us, Shri Siddharth, a multi-talented artist who has made his name in the film industry as an actor, playback singer, screenplay writer, but above all, a human being who has never shied away. In fact, who has shown the courage to show his stand whenever it mattered for the good of the society. Welcome, Siddharth. And joining us on stage, finally, Miss Nikki Galrani Pinisetti, a talented Indian actress who's very familiar to the Malayali audience. She needs no introduction to us. Very familiar with super hit films like 1983, Velli Moonga and Darling. In fact, in one of the years, in 2014, I believe, she was dubbed as the lucky charm of Malayalam film industry because with her presence, she made all the films super hit. So that is the fantastic panel on stage, and now I hand it over to Ms. Rajshri.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of pioneering growth and transformation, transforming the state of Kerala through entertainment and sports as engines of growth. Today, we are privileged to have a distinguished panel of thought leaders and visionaries who have made and accomplished cinema artist Siddharth and the talented, beautiful, and vibrant Nikki Galrani. Together, they represent a rich tapestry of experience, insight, creativity in the world of entertainment and sports. We gather here to unravel the captivating narrative of how Kerala, a state steeped in tradition and culture, has harnessed the potential of entertainment and sports as catalysts for progress, economic prosperity, and social transformation. From the silver screen to the sports arena, this panel of luminaries will share their perspectives on how these sectors have played a pivotal role in shaping Kerala's growth story. This extraordinary journey as we celebrate the fusion of art, entertainment, and athleticism that has not only entertained the masses, but also propelled the state of Kerala into a vibrant hub of innovation and creativity. With this, let me introduce, though none of them require an introduction, but let me introduce the much charismatic with, particularly Twitter, where he shares his thoughts, engages with his followers, and promotes his policy suggestions. Tharu's fluency in multiple languages, including English, Hindi, Malayalam, has facilitated his ability to connect with people from diverse backgrounds. He is popular both in India and internationally, often being invited to speak at conferences, seminars, and literary festivals. His ability to engage with people through his writing, public speaking, and social media presence has solidified his position as a prominent voice on national and international issues. Mr. Siddharth, the other panelist that we have today, a multi-talented and multifaceted artist, better known by his screen name Siddharth. Sid is an actor, singer, screenplay, writer, and producer, and one of the most educated artists that I know in Indian cinema, who works predominantly in Tamil film industry as well as Telugu, Malayalam, one movie. So I would like to see more of Malayalam movies from your end, and Bollywood cinema, Rang De Basanti, if I'm not wrong. Often described as one of the few actors in India with a pan-India appeal, Siddharth is one of the most sought-after actors in Tamil cinema. The actor who set out to become a director and writer, he has been part of several hit movies like Boys, Azhadu Ezhudu, Rang De Basanti, Jigar Thanda, Aran Mannai. We just had a conversation of how we pronounce, a Malayali pronounces Tamil, so I need to work on that, looks like. He has received several accolades for his performances, including Filmfare Award and Tamil Nadu State Film Award. Siddharth is known for his charming on-screen, off-screen presence and his ability to portray different characters with depth and conviction. The last, but not the least, the very beautiful Miss Nikki Galrani is an Indian film actress who primarily worked in South Indian film industry. She was born in Karnataka. Nikki comes from a family with a film background. Her father, Manohar Galrani, is a popular businessman in Bangalore, and her sister, Sanjana, is also an actress. Nikki Galrani made her acting debut in 2014 with the Tamil film Darling, directed by Sam Anton. Her performance in the film was well received, and she quickly gained recognition in the industry. She subsequently appeared in several successful Tamil and Malayalam films, showcasing her versatility as an actress. Some of Nikki's notable work in the Tamil film industry include, I don't want to pronounce, but because it will say that a Malayali pronouncing Tamil has a Malayalam accent. So there are quite a lot of Tamil movies. And she has appeared in a Malayalam movie called Velli Munga and Chunks. And 1983, if I'm not wrong, yeah. Nikki Galrani is known for her charming screen presence and ability to portray a variety of roles. She has also ventured into other South Indian film industry, including Kannada and Telugu, and has established herself as a popular actress in those industries as well. Apart from her acting career, Nikki is known for her philanthropic work. She actively supports organizations and initiatives related to animal welfare and regularly advocates for their rights. In addition to her acting skill, Nikki is admired for her beauty and sense of style, making her a popular figure in the entertainment industry. With her impressive body of work and growing popularity, she continues to be a sought-after actress in the South Indian film. With this, as you all know, it is a wonderful panel that we have who could speak about entertainment and sports, how it can transform Kerala. May I request Dr. Shashi Tharoor to give his keynote address.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you very much, Wing Commander, and very good to see my old friend Siddharth and my new friend Nikki from the entertainment industry. I just wanted to say that having inflicted a long keynote on you this morning, I'm going to give you a very short keynote today, just on the theme of entertainment and sports as engines of growth in India generally and in Kerala in particular. And then I think I would rather enjoy the conversation that the Wing Commander will be having with the three of us, rather than pontificating at length here. So basically, one of the interesting things, and it could be a good background for the kinds of problems we'll be discussing, is in fact that both entertainment and sports have been growing remarkably as engines of growth in our country and in our state. I mean, you won't believe this, but the Indian sports industry grew by 49% in 2022. Revenue from sports has crossed 14,000 crore rupees, and media spending has grown 26% last year to 7,553 crores. That is 26% higher than 2021, which is already over 6,000 crores. Of course, cricket has taken the lion's share of all of this, but this was not the World Cup year. That's this year. It's going to be even more astronomical. But cricket took 85%, and 15% of the growth was in sports that also have televisual appeal, like kabaddi and football. But what's interesting is that these other sports are growing at a faster pace than cricket is growing, because cricket has grown so much already that its dramatic increase in figures is only 44% growth in the last year, whereas the other sports are growing at 87% improvement from the previous year. Now, what's interesting about all of this is that all of this growth clearly suggests its potential for transforming the economy of every state in the country. The sports sector in India, including media rights, apparel, sports nutrition, sports equipment, is estimated internationally as being worth $100 billion in India by 2027. And the sports media market is pegged at $13.4 billion by that year being 4 years from now. The sports equipment and merchandise manufacturing in India, which actually is smaller than China and Japan, is expected to grow to $6.6 billion by 27. And the sports apparel market has already crossed $20 billion this year. So we're looking at some phenomenal figures. And the India sports scene is one thing, but since we were asked to talk about sports and entertainment, let me say that there is a recent report by PricewaterhouseCoopers saying that the media and entertainment industry has already crossed 430,000 crores, and it's growing at about 8.8% compounded annual growth. Now, there are new ways in which entertainment is growing. The popularity of OTT streaming services, which of course got a particular boost during the pandemic when traditional entertainment options outside the house were restricted. And that is continuing to grow even post-pandemic. We're also seeing Price Waterhouse prediction that the market will expand in the next couple of years at about 14% a year. We've also seen some interesting increases in music, radio, and podcasts, in cinema. And all of these are very high numbers. So music is 9.8% CAGR, cinema 38.3% CAGR. It's just difficult to believe. Video games and exports 18.3%. And even newspapers, the good old-fashioned newspaper is growing by 2%, 2.7% a year in India. And we are the only country in the world, by the way, where the print media is also growing, which I think suggests that, that there's something we're doing right. At least people are still reading. Now, there are obvious reasons for all of this growth, and I think I don't need to explain to business people like you, market size because of the population, the demographic dividend and the growing middle class because we have so many people, 650 million people or so are aged between 18 and 35. 65% of the entire population is under 35, and therefore we do have young people coming on and obviously interested in sports and in entertainment. And there is a growing middle class in the country with more disposable income available, and they're spending it on sports and entertainment. So this explains why these are key fields for growth. The irony is that this growth is taking place not with increased participation as much as we would like, but by increased viewership. So the money is coming through the fact that you're televising sports, and more people are sitting at home becoming couch potatoes and watching it, or sitting at home watching films and watching entertainment on their phones and so on. The Internet and Mobile Association of India says that last year 52% of our population had access to the internet, of whom about half reside in rural India. Some people say that's an underestimate, and we probably have even more people on the internet than is officially accounted for. But that's already very impressive. Now that's growing and is going to continue to grow. The cheaper smartphones that are available, and we know Jio and others are trying to do that, put more smartphones that are internet enabled into the hands of ordinary consumers at very affordable prices, the more internet connections there are going to be. Now, there are issues, increasing piracy and copyright infringement. I chaired the committee of Parliament that looked into this issue, and we did, in fact, express concern there are no enabling provisions to check film piracy, either in the Cinematographic Act of 1952 or in the certification rules of 83. And we do believe that more stringent action does need to be taken to protect the work of these young people sitting on the stage and all those behind them who are producing their own creative products and are very often seeing it ripped off. Even as an author, I find it disgraceful that more and more of my books are brought to me by eager young readers in pirated editions. And even Amazon is selling pirated books. So you can imagine if that happens to books which have a very small readership, you can imagine how bad the situation is with visual and audio entertainment being pirated across the country. There are, of course, increasing challenges on censorship and content restrictions, which are going to get worse, I fear, before they get better. Already some rather unfortunate noises have been made about more restrictions on OTT and so on. And there is competition within these different media. So you've got cinema facing competition from OTT and digital streaming platforms and so on. And there is a risk that they might cannibalize each other's markets. We'll have to see how that plays out, because these are early days yet in all of this. One of the possibilities that exist for all of you, just as in the earlier panel you were talking about how things could evolve in the next few years with AI and so on, in these areas of entertainment and particularly digital entertainment, there's still tremendous potential in Kerala for animation, visual effects, gaming, and comic sectors to grow. It's an industry already around the world that's worth $800 billion. A very small percentage of that is in India, and even smaller percentage in Kerala. Mumbai has the largest chunk of it. Much more can be done to encourage the growth of these sectors, and they can also generate jobs. And I would argue this is one area which the Indian entertainment industry generally, and certainly our folks in Kerala, haven't done, even though we were leaders within the animation space for the longest time, including out of the Technopark in Trivandrum, my constituency. And I remember supporting a number of ventures involving a couple of the major animation studios there. We still haven't grown anything like what the potential is of this particular sector. There was supposed to be an estimate before the pandemic that this sector, media and entertainment alone, could generate 7 to 8 lakh jobs by 2022. Obviously, the pandemic put paid to that idea, but I'm not sure that we should be making glib forecasts like that, because there is really a shortage of formal skills and training, resulting in a skills gap within the industry. And that we need to do much more to ensure that people are trained properly in order to have the skills that are so essential in the 21st century forms of this economy. And there's a lot of job insecurity in the profession, not at the level of people like Siddharth or Nikki, but certainly for a lot of professionals in the media industry and the entertainment industry. And with the great deal of competition that exists and the large number of people clamoring for every opportunity that comes around, it's a tough, insecure world out there for many young people trying to break into this. That's on entertainment. On sports, as I say, people are watching sports, and that's where the growth has come from. But the challenges remain of insufficient infrastructure, hardly any investment and development beyond the big cities and the big stadia. And apart from cricket, very many other sports struggle to secure adequate funding in our country. Sponsors and investors seem to shy away from these. There are very limited revenue streams beyond broadcasting rights and sponsorships. Most sort of grassroots level sports tournaments in panchayat levels or villages or even cities attract audiences that don't pay and very meager sponsorship. And a lot of people are playing only out of love for the game, and their numbers are dwindling every day. And my worry is that the lack of investment in youth programs, training facilities, sports grounds by governments, all governments are feeling the crunch in terms of their budget. That is definitely affecting grassroots development in all of this. So a few random suggestions before I go and join the big conversation out there. The need to reach out and connect to a global audience. The Indian entertainment industry, with just having won an Oscar last year for a song, Natu Natu, that is something we need to do much more systematically. The way in which the Koreans have proliferated, found audiences around the world, including in India, for K-pop and Korean drama, as well as Korean TV shows. Tremendous success for Korean content globally, even though Korean is spoken by very few people, obviously, around the world. But they have created content that resonates with the global audience. We need to be able to be more conscious of what plays well internationally than we seem to be right now. In the sports arena, one could argue that we've actually found a formula, and that was in the sport of cricket. The invention of the Indian Premier League brought a lot of the razzmatazz of American baseball into a sport that had never seen it before, packaged it, modified it, repurposed it, and marketed it in a way that really did find a global audience and influenced the evolution of the game in every other cricket-playing country. So if we could do it for cricket, we need to exercise the same imagination to do it for other activities in sport as well as in entertainment. And of course, we do need to push ancillary industries connected to these activities. It's obviously, you've seen during the Cricket World Cup in India how the travel, tourism, and hotel industries got a boost every time India was playing in any of these cities. Cinema has helped in many cases to promote tourism. There's no doubt that when Indian Bollywood films started shooting in Switzerland, the number of Indian tourists going to Switzerland shot up exponentially. I'm told that the film Krish was actually made in collaboration with the Singapore Tourism Board, and it resulted in a 6-fold increase in Indian tourism to Singapore, and so on. So there are things that can be done to showcase. I mean, I would encourage state governments, such as the Kerala government here, to actually offer incentives for Indian filmmakers to come and make films in Kerala, give them some breaks, and in turn, hope to reap the benefits of that by increased tourism to the spots in Kerala that could feature in these films. And that's something we are not doing enough of systematically. Find prime shooting spots, make an active outreach to the film industry saying, come and shoot in Bekal Fort, or come and shoot in the backwaters or whatever, and we'll give you breaks, we'll subsidize your hotel things, we'll waive some taxes, so you can actually film here cheaper than it might otherwise be, and then we will hope to benefit from more tourists coming to these spots, which will be mentioned in the film. Sports manufacturing, gone, I hope, are the days when poor little kids were pushed into child labor to weave, stitch the seams of cricket balls and so on. If we can actually manage to get more sophisticated manufacturing techniques into sport, we should be able to do it cheaper than most countries, with, of course, the possible exception of China. And I'm told we're already doing some exports of sporting goods to the US, UK, Australia, and so on. And we should be doing more to attract international companies to come and manufacture their famous brand name goods in our country. And that's something which I believe we should be able to do successfully. Finally, and this is a favorite theme of mine because you heard me mention it this morning in the context of Kerala and business, let's loosen the regulatory framework. We have too many regulations and people recommending even more regulations on everything from the entertainment industry to now. I mean, what we're forgetting is that the success of many of our most successful businesses occurred because of an absence of regulation. It's because no one knew how to regulate the internet that we shot off and became world leaders in using internet-enabled services and creating businesses. Similarly, cable TV proliferated across India at a time when there were no regulations because cable TV hadn't existed before. Similarly, it would be very helpful if we could reduce the number of regulations required by the film industry, from everything from permission for shooting to the certification, censorship, and so on, far from trying to impose the same regulations on the OTT platforms as some politicians want to do. I would strongly advocate for lifting the regulations or loosening the regulations that do exist in order to free the business as an engine for growth. So those are some thoughts I'd leave you with, but I think the conversation has a lot more to offer. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Tharoor. May I now request, Siddharth would like to speak to the audience, so may I request Siddharth to give his heart opening session.
Very good evening. I find it quite comforting that we're the last panel for the evening, but I also find it equally exciting that I get to follow Shashi Tharoor on stage. Nice to see you again, Shashi. It's been a while. I'm here at the FICCI panel today for the same reason I accept invitations to speak on any stage. I like to broadly divide it into two categories. One is posterity and the other is consequence. So the posterity part of it I already get because we are sharing a stage with a very dynamic leader, a very well-spoken gent, and just an overall solid guy. And he's going to talk to us about sports and entertainment. I'm going to stick to the consequence part, and I'm going to start with a question pointing to every single person sitting in this audience today. A show of hands, how many of you see yourself working in the entertainment industry in the next 20 years? I'm really glad for that one person who put his hand up. Meet me after this, and you too. We have a lot to talk about. How many of you read page 3, gossip, things about where people are spotted, what outfits they wore to which airport? How many of you do that? You can be a little more honest. Come on. I know all of you know what my girlfriend wore on her last airport visit. Come on. So yeah, this is my primary point of addressal today. I already take not umbrage, but definitely a point of interjection when you say entertainment and sport in the same breath. My name is Siddharth. I've been in the entertainment business for 22 years. I've been an actor, I've been a screenplay writer, I've been a playback singer, and I've been a film producer with my own money. But before all of that, I have an undergraduate degree in commerce from Delhi University, and I have a marketing management degree from the SP Jain Institute of Management in Bombay. I'm an educated postgraduate who's chosen to work his whole lifetime in the entertainment business. And I don't like to be clubbed with sports, because sports in India is very entertaining, but the entertainment business in India is not at all sporting. We are clubbed with gambling when it comes to our GST classification. We're a highly unprofitable industry. We're a highly disorganized industry. We are not yet an industry. So why am I here? I'm here again to address issues of consequence. I'd like to address how I can get the cream of a generation to make my industry a part of their goal stream so that I can come to a conference about industry and get at least 30% of the audience to say, I want to work where you're working. And I'd like to discuss ways to make that possible. As an actor, well, first of all, as I always get told this, you're a very intelligent actor. So I'm like, why do you always make it sound like those are two mutually exclusive options? And I think that needs to change. And I'm not saying that I'm an exception to the rule. There are many, many intelligent people, educated people working in cinema. But there isn't a regular inflow of intelligent and educated people coming into cinema. There's lots and lots of reasons for that. There's social stigma against my place of work. I remember when I used to be an assistant director staying as a, well, non-paying guest in my aunt's and my grandmother's house 24 years ago. I used to get up in the morning at 4:30 to go to work because that's the time of day that we usually start our day as filmmakers, because we try to catch the best light. So your day starts 2 hours before the best light, which is dawn. And I remember my late grandmother, she would be the only one up at 4 o'clock to watch me leave for work. And she wouldn't ask me what I was going to shoot or who I was going to shoot with or what is the important topic of the day. She would ask me clarification on what she read in the gossip column the previous night. And then she would ask me in Chase Tamil, I heard that guy ran away with that girl. I said, Marty, you really think this is what I go to see at work every day, is people either doing it or thinking about doing it? So there is a stigma associated with the film industry, which, I mean, I guess we look a little better than the mean median curve. So maybe you want to know about who we are sleeping with a little more than the next gent or lady. But that's not good enough reason to think that that's the one trick that this pony is capable of. Then there's the obvious problems with the disparity between education and talent. Within the industry, there are lots of discussion points that can't be brought up at FICCI because it's inconsequential, because we don't have the other side of that discussion point in this crowd. Alfred Hitchcock once said, anybody can be an actor, just treat them like cattle, come and tie them up in the corner, give them their fodder, and when it's time for them to be tickled, bring them in, get their job done, and put them back to pasture. I disagree with the great man, because it makes me want to disagree with myself if I think that that's the definition of actor I'm going to accept. So it's a very subjective profession. There's also the issue of taxation that I've raised. Again, I'm not going to start comparing how much a cement bag is taxed and how much the entertainment industry is taxed, because that would be counterproductive. What I would also like to discuss on that topic is, if you take away the personal income tax part of it, because that's all people see when they think about the entertainment business. They see the 0.01% income tax returns. They see the 0.01% year-on-year increased profitability. Most of cinema is legwork. Most of cinema is made up by the numbers. I remember Sashi used the word cattle class 10 years ago, and he was taken to task by people who didn't know why the word cattle class was used. So I'm going to tread a little cautiously and tell you that most of filmmaking is donkey work. And you can't judge an industry by the donkey work. You can't tax an industry based on the donkey work, because that's how many people we contribute individually, ourselves, our families, to work in cinema. There's no job security in cinema. 20 years ago, you'd had people tell you the sob stories of, oh, my son should have been a cricketer, but we wanted him to be an engineer, and he became an engineer and not a cricketer. In those days, cricket had to compete with engineering for its survival. Today, engineering just has to compete with itself. I'm glad to report on that, because cricket is run far and away from the curve. And even there, you have the 0.01% paying the most ridiculous taxes. But overall, the amount of money that's generated by the donkey work of cricket is not judged. It is not treated with disrespect. Which brings us to another important subjugate, beautiful piece of terminology that involves my industry as much as yours, which is AI. And if I'm telling you most of my industry is legwork, then we're in deep trouble, because AI first comes for the legwork. You know, the machines first take over what can be substituted easily. And a lot of our industry is going to disappear into the advanced implementation of AI that's coming in the next 5 years. Why? You won't need me in 5 years to come and address a FICCI conclave. You'll just need my consent, I think. And if I don't give that to you, well, you'll just need a little bit of hacking. And you'll still get me to come and speak the same stuff I'm speaking to you today. So the limited resource that is my existence as a performing artist and the dropping value of the individual human being's live performance all come into a very tricky discussion point with the advent of AI into entertainment. So we need to discuss that as well. And on that cheery summary note of all the positive things I hope to discuss today with this very interesting panel, thank you, Nikki, for being here. And once again, thank you so much, Mr. Tharoor, for being here. It's always a joy to speak with you and hear you speak. And I'm looking forward to hearing questions. And hopefully at the end of this said panel discussion, we'll have a few of you come and say, where can I sign up to be in the entertainment industry? Optimistically yours. Let's have this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Lot of takeaways. But since I made the lady wait for some time, so I'll start with Nikki, if I could start the session. Nikki, one question that I would want to ask, Dr. Shashi Tharoor did mention about it. Overall OTT acquisition, because your experience in Malayalam industry has been there, so therefore overall OTT acquisition rates for Malayalam film has dipped by nearly 50% over the past few months. Okay, so what do you think is the engine of growth for Malayalam film industry moving forward?
Good evening, everybody. So see, I think since the pandemic, got in the picture and we saw major movies in Malayalam on major multiple OTT platforms. So there was a hike, there was a spike in, the number of Malayalam movies we saw post-pandemic. And yes, there has been a little bit of a dip in the last few months. But I feel like this has not just been the case with Malayalam cinema. This has been the case with other languages as well. And this has been the case in general with OTT right now. And the reason for this, from my experience or my understanding, would be that during the pandemic, the major source of entertainment we all fell back upon was OTT, because the theaters were shut and there was nothing much that you could do, go to. So yes, there was a certain budget that was set back then for multiple cinemas, multiple movies to, that were welcomed on those platforms. And what right now, I think, is that we have become our own competitors, that we have right now, I think, increased the number of movies that have been commissioned right now are about 3x times more than in comparison to pre-pandemic days. So I think that has created a lot of competition. And talking about OTT right now, I feel like, every business, takes a little bit of a correction phase. And I think OTT might be in one of those correction phases where things will, of course, get better, because OTT is one of the biggest platforms that, to look up to, that we can, bullish about and look forward to in the future. So I'm sure that there will be a major hike in the budget when it comes to OTT. And a lot of cinemas, not just Malayalam, like Pan India, will be welcomed on multiple platforms. And I think it's just a matter of time for it to get better from where we are today.
You have acted in Kannada, Tamil, and Malayalam movies.
Yes, and Telugu, Pan South.
And Telugu. Okay, so all South Indian movies. So how do you see Malayalam film industry as compared to other South Indian?
Okay, so I must say this. I debuted in Malayalam. 1983 was the third film of mine as an actor. But it was the first one that I debuted with and marked my debut on screen. So I'm known as a Malayalam actor wherever I go initially. And it's very different that every time I come back to Malayalam, a Malayalam set, it feels like home. And I've always said this, that my art is the same wherever I go. The art of filmmaking remains the same. Our aim, our vision is the same. Of course, the nativity of every place, every state is different. The culture is different, which is why the films read the way they do. But coming to a Malayalam set feels like home because there is no differentiation among people, among technicians or the cast or anybody, because everybody is like one big family, sitting together, eating together, chilling together between shots and everything. Yes, there is a certain need for your privacy. You need you need to have your private time to go get ready, do your stuff, and come back. But in that interval of gap, the little breaks that you have between shots and everything, I think everybody's like one big family here. And it feels really nice, like to be away from home that long for 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, and to still feel like, okay, you're surrounded by so many lovely people with so much warmth and love. So I think Malayalam is one such industry that makes me feel that way the most.
Um, One last question. Will AI replace creativity in Malayalam movies? Will we make more fairy tale movies like Bahubali or Drishyam?
Well, see, I feel replacing creativity is a very strong word to use right now, and I don't think that will be the case anytime soon, at least, or that's what I hope for, because I mean, AI today's date, from whatever I have understood, it's a very early stage to judge and to come to conclusions that it will replace it, because AI, end of the day, is technology. It's a database. What you feed is what you get. And yes, there are advanced technologies today's day. There are advanced applications today's date that generate scripts, you know, improvise, build on scripts. You give them a topic and they give you scripts in return and all of that. But I feel like it cannot give you an entire screenplay. Even if it does give you an entire screenplay, it is subjected to a lot of copyright violations. So whatever the good is there in AI, there are obviously a lot of complications, and there's a flip side to it also, is what I feel. And yes, like Siddharth said, in the coming future, there might be a state where we might not be needed. There might be a major threat to our industry as well. But it's again too early to judge, because I feel cinema is something which is deeply rooted in all of us, and it's language that people speak from the heart. And I think no amount of technology or anything can match up to that human emotion. And yeah, I just hope it does not take away our jobs from us and all of that. But I don't think it can ever replace creativity. Although yes, it will of course help advance the process of filmmaking. It will help speeden up the process of filmmaking. It will help reduce the human hours. So whatever can be done in X number of days or months would obviously get speed up with the help of AI. But I just don't think it might replace that, because end of the day, we will want to seek that human connect. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Tharoor, I heard quite a lot about sports and how sports is going to be, something which will bring in cultural, the society, the character building in society. There is a lot of viewership, but how do we get people to be participate in sports, in the sense, particularly children with the kind of virtual life that they are leading today?
To be honest, that is in fact the biggest challenge and the most important challenge here, because as I mentioned in my own remarks, we are looking at a lot of people viewing sport, or for that matter, entertainment, and not enough people participating in it. What I found particularly worrying, I was just looking up figures, is what's happening to our children right now in schools. There are some alarming studies about how depression is increasing. There was a school study in Kerala, 17 schools across the state. 62% of the students interviewed struggled with depression, 6.6% from anxiety disorders, 14.8% from severe depression. Now, this severe depression requiring medical intervention, the 62 was just general, not feeling great about themselves. And so the problem is that clearly we have a problem that emerges from being in a largely sort of non-participating society. You're addicted to, at best, online games, otherwise your mobile phone, surfing the internet. Those are the kinds of things that occupy you when you're not in the classroom. And as a result, Kerala has really some of the most severe mental health problems of school and college going children in the country. And we also have, according to the National Health Survey, the second highest rates of child obesity in the country after Punjab. Now, that's really worrying because if we already are a state with an alarming level of lifestyle diseases, Kerala is the national capital for diabetes. We are the national capital for heart diseases. We are looking at a situation where if children are showing increasing incidence of both hypertension and type 2 diabetes, there's something wrong with our failure to prioritize healthy physical activities like sports. Um, Obviously, exercise and a balanced diet are important for all of us of any age. But what we need to do is definitely get school children involved in sports. And I think that means, first of all, it's got to be made compulsory. It's got to be part of the school curriculum and not an optional extra. We can't just say that you do something after school hours. You absolutely have to get the kids in school hours out playing sports and out doing physical exercise. But do you realize that our schools have a crippling shortage of physical education teachers? 50% of Kerala schools have no physical education teacher. It's an alarming statistic. And in some cases, the posts exist in theory, but they're remaining vacant. In many others, no budgetary provision has been made at all. So we absolutely have to do this. A widespread pattern in Kerala appears to be that where some schools have dedicated hours for physical education, those are often appropriated by teachers for remedial coursework and classwork. They say you can skip PE today and we'll catch up on what we missed last year or last week or last month, or when there was a hartal or a band or whatever, we didn't have the class, miss the physical education and do it. That's extremely worrying. And I think that we really will have to crack the whip on ensuring that all schools adhere to physical education periods. But let's also admit that there are so many parents sitting in here in this hall that the greatest challenge starts at home. Because a child's priorities and interests are obviously shaped by the family environment that they grow up in. And we as parents cannot just keep emphasizing to them how after school they've got to go and get additional tuition classes or remedial education, even online courses, Byju's and whatever to improve their marks. We have become a hyper-competitive society when it comes to educating our children and totally uninterested when it comes to giving them opportunities for physical activity and sports. And I really worry about this because it's almost embedded. We're proud of the fact that we emphasize education in Kerala. I'm proud of it too. Every time that I participate in the Vidyarambha ceremonies every year, I feel what a wonderful thing we have this in our culture, and practically nobody else has it. That you've got prominent people singing in public venues and instructing kids in writing when they're young enough for this to make an impression on their minds. But the problem is we never do that when it comes to any other kind of activity. And the appreciation for the value of sports in a child's development, including, of course, learning important life lessons, of engaging with others and teammates, of working together for a common goal, of learning how to deal with loss and defeat, how to be gracious in victory, all of these things that come from activities involved on the sporting field are really absent for many, many of our children. In fact, I would even say a majority of our school children. And so in addition to the health risks I've already mentioned that are associated with ignoring the importance of this, there are also all these other qualities that are lost. And then, if I may say, Wing Commander, at the policy level, the government needs to do much more. And I'm not saying the government has the money to do much more themselves, but one of the things the government can do is encourage folks here in the private sector to come in on a PPP basis and help. Can you folks, for example, see yourself in exchange for, say, tax incentives or tax breaks from the government, co-sponsoring the creation of playgrounds or even mini stadia in every panchayat, in every village, in every corporation ward in this state? It shouldn't be impossible. There are enough companies here and the resources involved are not that dramatic. That would give children a place where they can play in decent conditions, where others can come and watch them and encourage them and so on. So I would urge serious thought being given by both the government and the private sector to more public-private partnerships in developing sporting facilities. And if we can do that, it seems to me that we will already have made a significant progress in answering the wing commander's question, how do we give opportunities to children to be more involved in sports themselves?
I think there is some problem with the audio because there's a lot of echo and we are unable to hear.
Were you all able to hear in the audience okay? Yeah, it's only for us on the stage. Yeah.
Okay. Um, are we doing enough to promote, the art and culture, particularly of, no, to you, Dr. Tharoor, particularly Kerala's culture and heritage, like the means to bring in the traditional art form. Currently, there is that we have not strengthened our policy to bring in these art forms. And is there any way that we can monetize so that there would be more people who would promote these kind of traditional art forms?
No, I mean, I think we are doing a fair bit, and there's a lot of initiatives that I've seen in many parts of Kerala to revive dying folk art, dance forms, music, and so on. But there's not much money in it. In fact, very bluntly, there is no money in it. What they do is they come and perform usually on either a very local stage, or if they're lucky, they get picked for some state level or district level performance. And at best, they end up with a certificate or something. There's not much money coming into this. And that's something, again, where we might want to invite the private sector to come in and support a little bit. We have a fault in Kerala of relying on the government to have the money for everything. And not only does the government not have money for everything, but what little it has is so grossly misspent, as we were discussing this morning, that they're just, this is a bankrupt state for all practical purposes. If Kerala were an independent country, it would literally be in default. It's because we're part of larger India that we're surviving so far, despite being grossly in debt, with the debt going up every year. So let's not expect the government to find money for art, culture, sport, everything else. But if they can provide what they can provide, which would include some tax incentives, maybe some land, government land, Perambok land sitting around they have no use for, and then we can get the private sector to come in and create facilities there, offer platforms there, then I think we will be able to make progress in both sports and culture. There are people interested in all of these things, but very many of these, for example, what I've seen of reviving dying art forms is being done part-time by people, whereas generations ago, it was a full-time profession in a family, certain kinds of music, traditional instruments, and that sort of thing. Today, somebody has to go and do a job to pay the rent and feed themselves and their families, and somehow in their spare time, because maybe the passion has been transmitted down the generations, they try and do this. And then somebody comes along and video records them doing it and preserves a record of it and so on. And some MP like me comes along and releases the CD of that video and we talk about it. And then frankly, people go away. There is no commercial potential there. But we need to try and record and encourage this and make it work much more than we have been doing. And again, I'm a big believer in PPP because I do believe that we haven't tapped fully the resources of the private sector for public benefit, which the private sector would be willing to do if it gives them a certain amount of certain areas, some of the requirements of CSR, which is a legal requirement, plus, of course, some tax incentives. And I think that combination could really work well to get some private sector money into all of these areas.
One last question before I go to Sid. You have compared Kerala to Barcelona at one point of time. Barcelona, currently I see a lot of branding for cricket taking place, but Kerala innately has a tradition of, we see football field across, but now skyscrapers are coming in, lands are scarce. How do we promote football, one, and what are the branding that we can think to promote this sport?
Well, actually, I'm not sure that that is a major problem. You've seen the Kerala Soccer League. You've seen even somebody like Sachin Tendulkar coming in and buying a football team in Kerala. So I think, the IPL model is being followed more and more in football, in kabaddi, perhaps one day in hockey. There are people talking about trying to revive hockey that way. So I think as long as there are eyeballs on television, the money will come, the incentives will come, there will be a flow. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem. Right now, our teams are doing well, but at the grassroots level, there is a need for help. I was just thinking today is the 90th birthday of a wonderful man I know in Thiruvananthapuram called T.J. Matthew, Tayil J. Matthew, who, out of his own money, created a football team from BPL, below the poverty line families of the Kovalam fishermen's community, called it the Kovalam Football Club. He managed, again out of his own money, to rent a college ground for them to practice in. He built a hostel where they could stay and be trained and be fed. And they have now beaten some of the best, most expensive, high quality teams in Kerala, and indeed have entered some tournaments beyond the state and won some prizes. But it took one large hearted individual, and his pockets weren't that deep, but he spent money. So today, on his 90th birthday, I want to pay tribute to him and say there could be so many more people like that across the state who could help bring people into the sport who may have a passion for the sport, but no means to be trained to any standard, to have the nutrition required to play competitively, to have the uniforms, the boots, the jerseys, whatever it takes. And if we can get more people coming in to sponsor that, that would make a difference. At the top of the game, Nikki, there is no, I'm sorry, Wing Commander, there is no problem at the top of the game. That's where you have your soccer leagues and your big teams and your fancy money and people watching it on TV. It's at the bottom that I think we need more investment. The fishermen's families, the slum children, give them a break and it can be transformative in their lives.
Thank you. Thank you. Sid, your turn now. Just a second.
Just before you shoot that question at me, I'm just going to add on to what Dr. Tharoor said, because I'm going to speak about that which is not my industry, which is sports. In India, sports and its success stories have always been, and don't get me wrong in any way, have been individual, in the sense that it took individual brilliance against all odds, despite the system. Those are the stories that make up Indian sport, which is why our individual sporting achievements have always been at the top of the world pyramid. Because whether it's Ramanathan Krishnan all the way down to PV Sindhu, you have individual sportsmen finding their guts and gumption and going and, achieving stuff. In the team part of it, we only have cricket. So I think for any consequential discussion, it's best not to club cricket as an Indian sport anymore, because the factors don't apply. If they don't apply, then why do you keep saying Indian sport and then starting with cricket? Because there's clearly almost a caste system in place for cricket versus other sports. And it's gone to a point where we have, I'm sure, highly educated cricketers selling us mutual funds and gambling, and that's where the money is. No other Indian sport gets to do all of this. So that's one thing. And so in a country of 1 billion people, he who has land is king. So by now, we should have been able to give football fields and other maidans to our players on a government and municipal level, so that it should happen. That hasn't happened, which means that corruption, crony capitalism, all of these are stuff that we have inherited over the last many hundred years of how we operate. So if we leave cricket aside, I think what he's talking about, privatizing group sports, has always had good results with its private leagues, which are also very money-minded and trying to hit the highest profit and also eventually become crony capitalists. But in the collateral damage is the improvement of the sport, which we are happy to take. So I think in the group space, if it's possible to highlight sports and start kind of privatizing them in a systematic way, then the money goes to the grassroots faster. Because the faster you privatize, the less you have to go through conventional bottlenecks of social inequality and hierarchy and corruption that will automatically happen the moment you go the government route. So that's on your sector of sports. Now you can come to my sector, which is the rest of the world.
Yeah, with you, it is much more on AI. Before that, I just want to ask this question because cinema goes beyond entertainment and has a deep and lasting impression on the viewer. We root for the underdogs in their victory, okay? And we see ourselves winning. Movies have also been blamed for romanticizing violence. Yeah. So how can we harness the power of movies to play a constructive role in building a virtuous society?
The other thing is when we speak about films and the impact that a film has, I think we really get carried away. Let me tell you that the phenomenal success and the well-deserved success of S.S. Rajamouli's RRR has in no way affected most of our jobs. Because just because he made that film and just because that song went to the Academy Awards does not change how we go to work when we leave home tomorrow morning. So that is an individual accomplishment. And I know Shashi mentioned the Korean film industry and the K-pop. That didn't happen in one day. Bong Joon-ho has been a celebrated filmmaker for more than 20 years. Parasite was, let's put it in a nice way, the straw that broke the camel's back, and the camel was the Oscars. It doesn't mean that Parasite is the reason Korean cinema is where it is today. So similarly, Rajamouli didn't just suddenly wake up and make Bahubali. That's his 20-year journey. He's always done that. And he does it at a budget which was done before him by Mr. Shankar. So those are individual showmen of Indian cinema, going all the way back to Raj Kapoor. So they are our David Leans, right? So if you look at even if you're saying there's a film, what do we do with too much violence in cinema? If people were going to be affected by cinema negatively and become bad people, by now all the positive films we've made in the last 100 years should have made our population much more saintly than it is. So people are not that affected by films. Let's stop giving us credit where it's not due. And as far as hyper-violence is concerned, I reject violence in cinema. I have a problem with the censorship of films in India, not because of the subjectivity of it. I have a problem with the hypocrisy of it. You can't censor a film and then not go and enforce it in the theater. You can't say this is for kids above the age of 12 and then not have the rules to throw out a 5-year-old kid from a cinema. You can't do it in India. So all this is just lip service. The other problem I have is that, again, I don't want to speak about governments and political opinions because I don't do that anymore. I'm a fully functional creative personality at this point. Also 100% tax paying. But other than that, what I can tell you is I've faced stupidity on the other side of the table across government censor boards. And I'm sitting in Kerala today, so I'll give you the example of my only Malayalam film that I did, in which I play a fictional character inside the film who's shooting a film. In that film, he's playing a character who wants to assassinate Gandhi. I hope you understood. I'm playing a fictional character who's acting in a film inside a film in which he wants to kill Gandhi. So the dialogue I will say as somebody who's a cold-blooded man, who's a bad man, who wants to kill the father of the nation before he was the father of the nation in a fictional film. And the dialogue is Gandhi Kollapadam. Now this is the dialogue I spoke. Gandhi Kollapadam, which means Gandhi will be killed. I am the assassin. A week before the release of the film, I was made to change that dialogue in dub. And I dare you to tell me what I changed it to. Gandhiji Kollapadam. This is the state of censorship in India. And no, it's not which government it was. All governments have their fair representation of, am I allowed to say stupidity? Okay, thank you. So yes. So coming back to the discussion point that we were having before this is, if you have to have rules, you have to have rules to follow them up. And if you look at statistics of hyper-violent films, they are not translating into hyper-violent people. They're just translating to a different kind of applause in the cinema. And that might just be the flavor of the season. It does not mean that all films going forward will be hyper-violent. And it certainly does not mean that I'll be able to end hyper-violence on screen. Having said that, as a producer, my last film is a film called Chitta, which is a relationship drama between an uncle and his niece. It's a kidnap thriller with a lens on child safety. Now, in that film, we have done none of the things that have been done in this genre subject matter in the last 50 years. And we have lived completely on the side of social decency, responsibility, and making sure that we made the right film that we set out to make. And I'm very proud to tell you the film was critically and commercially accepted, and we made it to the other side of the success equation without being hyper-violent, without being gimmicky, without catering to the least common denominator, without going only for the sound of applause. We went for the sound of silence, and to tell you that in 2023, it's possible to have a filmmaker drown his audience in silence and it still be a successful film, then Chitta did that for us. So I think just like in sports, cinema is also an individual success story because it is one writer pulling stuff that is in his mind that's intangible and having 24 other people come and support him as midwives in the delivery of this intangible construct. And when that is what an industry is based on, there's a lot of subjectivity, at play here. So coming to the next part, once we went from hyperviolence, making our cinemas a safe place is not right now, what's the right word, priority, because there are other people on that job. I would like to talk about, like I said, getting young people to come and work in my industry. In that, if you tell a young kid in the 9th grade or 10th grade, what do you want to do when you grow up? They might say, I want to be famous like a movie star. But other than that, they'll always say, I want to be the prime minister to do this, or I want to be a doctor to do this, or I want to, do this and serve my country. I don't know how to start selling. I also play for my country only. It's not that every time I give a good performance, Pakistan mein Diwali banti hai. Aisa nahi hota na. So I have to represent that it's a good working place. So if I'm asking the young women out there, would you come to work in cinema? For the longest time, women are not allowed to come and work in cinema for obvious reasons, to them, not to me. I still don't understand this. So when I first went to a film set, I used to see a generator van, and there would be a generator van. Those are the oven around which a film shoot happens is a generator van, because that's the power supply for the whole film set. And the first thing I remember reading outside the driver's door is no women allowed. No women allowed, which means that the only purpose that a woman was being used for inside a generator truck is not too difficult to guess. And so the person who's leasing the truck in and out is saying, I don't want any hanky-panky. So the first time I saw the word woman on a film set was this context. No women allowed inside a generator van. So that's how difficult a working place this is for women as of now in India. So we can do affirmative action. We can say, I want this many people on my set to be women. And we can go one step ahead and give them the right working conditions. But that does not change even one of the stigmas that prevents the next girl from getting educated and coming and working in cinema. So I don't know how to change that perception, right? We have it, it's been broken. The glass ceiling breaks a little easier in even the army or in men's and women's sports, or in different other places. I'm still trying to figure out how to forget the ceiling, how to break the lock on the door, which is currently made of glass, to help more women and young girls come and work in our business and feel safe. So there are so many questions for us coming into it. So whether you're talking about, again, hyperviolence on screen or hyperpatriarchy on a set floor, all of it has to come into the purview of the filmmaker while still trying to justify to the government not to tax us at 28% like gamblers, not to assume that everybody here is an individual super rich taxpayer, and so the whole GST, before we become profitable, we need to be GST'd in every way of our it's becoming impossible to make films. And he's right, getting permissions to shoot for locations. I'll give you a really interesting story. Again, none of this is based on who is in the government, because I don't speak on those topics anymore. I'm only speaking on a bureaucratic level. So I'm making a film, I need a location, I see an unused municipality building, and I go and do the fair application for that permission to shoot there. I need it for 4 days. I need it for 8 to 9 hours a day. After 3 months of begging every bureaucrat involved in this pass the document forward, I had to make a 200-unit crew sit in an outdoor location without this permission for 3 days, paying their salaries, feeding them. Again, feeding them. You guys know about the wedding industry. They feed so many people, banquet halls. Every film shoot every day feeds 500 to 1,000 people. That's the logistics we work with as filmmakers. But we're also taxed for that. But having said that, this location permission came to me one day after this 72-hour delay. And they said, you have to pay a 50,000 rupee deposit and then pay 10,000 rupees an hour for that location. And across 4 days, I was like, am I shooting in a minister's palace? Why am I being charged like this? There's no logic. It's just that difficult to make films. You want a permission to shoot on the road? They'll say, what is this? It's a movie. We'll charge you this much. I'm like, why? Because you people are making so much money. So that's how they discuss the rates of shooting now, because they think our end money is this much. So anyway, I've taken a lot of your time and I've heard the bell go off 3 times. So that means I'm winning. Cheers.
Thank you so much. You have answered all the questions that I had framed to ask. There's a lot of takeaways, but because of shortage of time, I'll just wrap it up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vicky, for giving us an opportunity to open up as entertainment and sports as an engine of growth. Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Nikki, and Siddharth, thank you so much for your.
Please tell everybody, please tell your friends to tell their friends to tell their children to come and work in cinema, please. We can't do campus recruitment because we're not supposed to be that educated, but please come and work in cinema. There are lots of people like me there, and we're just waiting to, do a good job and make good films. And I'm sure that all the people in the front row, I think it's time you guys come in as consultants. So I'm also throwing the, the invitation out for you guys. Come and help a fledgling industry gain its feet so that we can be both profitable and live up to all of your other expectations as well. And keep reading the gossip columns, because as long as you're interested, at least we have your attention. There you go.
I'm really sorry to be, stopping short this very engaging conversation. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for doing this. And since this is the last panel of the day, we have a request from you. We have an additional task to ask of you. We have a few important awards to be given away, and we would like the 3 of you to do the honors. We're going to do that quickly. Awards for the best in the industry across sectors. We request the 3 of you to take turns and give over the awards. The first award is for the best medical institution below 500 beds, and the award goes to Daya General Hospital Limited. Can we have the representative come on stage and receive the award? Daya General Hospital Limited is the best medical institution below 500 beds. Can we make that fast, please? The best in the industry. Let's make that. Yes, please. All the awardees, can you please make your way to the front of the audience so that we can go through this quickly? Yes, the first award being given away is for the best medical institution below 500 beds to Daya General Hospital Limited. Loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The next award is for the best medical pharmaceuticals Ayurveda, and that goes to Vaidyaratnam Aushadashala Private Limited. For the best medical pharmaceuticals Ayurveda. In this segment, the award goes to Vaidyaratnam Aushadashala Private Limited. Please come on stage to receive the award. The unwritten rule for an award segment is that the applause should never stop, ladies and gentlemen. The next award is for the best medical devices manufacturer segment, and this award goes to Agape Diagnostics Limited, the best medical devices manufacturer. Agape Diagnostics Limited, can we have you on stage? The next segment is for the best NBFC organization. Can we have the awardee ready? The best NBFC organization. The award goes to Muthoot Finance. Muthoot Finance receives the award for the best NBFC organization. Can we have the representative of Muthoot Finance come on stage to receive the award? The next category is for the best real estate company. The best real estate company, the award goes to Asset Homes Private Limited. Asset Homes Private Limited, can we have a representative on stage, please, to receive the award? Do we have a representative from Asset Homes Private Limited? Quickly moving on to the next segment. For the best jewelry, the winner is Joy Alucas India Private Limited. Joy Alucas India Private Limited is the winner in the jewelry category, best jewelry. Quickly moving on to the, do we have a representative here? Yes. The best jeweler award goes to Joy Alucas India Private Limited. The next category is for the best hypermarket. The best hypermarket is Nesto. Can we have a representative receive the award? Nesto Hypermarket. The next category, best resort. The award goes to the Ravis Kadava. The award for the best resort goes to the Ravis Kadava. Inviting the best real estate award winner once again on stage, Asset Homes Private Limited, the best real estate company. The award goes to Asset Homes Private Limited. Can we have you on stage, please? Asset Homes Private Limited. The next segment is Best Inbound in Tourism Sector. The award goes to Marvel Tours. Can we have a representative of the company Marvel Tours come on stage and receive the award? Best Inbound in Tourism Sector, Marvel Tours. Quickly moving on to the next category, the Best Coir Exporter. Bioingradia Natural Private Limited. Can we have you on stage and receive the award for the best coir exporter? Bioingradia Natural Private Limited is the winner in this category. The best corporate organization. The award goes to SFO Technologies. SFO Technologies. SFO Technologies, I request the representatives to come on stage and receive the award. And the final award for the best IT company goes to Nest Digital Private Limited. Nest Digital Private Limited is the winner in the category Best IT Company. We request you to come on stage and receive the award. Looks like the Nest team is not here. May I oh, yes. Okay. Okay. They're doing one more round there. The best IT company, Nest Digital Private Limited. And on that note, before everyone leaves the stage, yes, gentlemen, thank you for coming on stage. I request all the panelists to stay back because we haven't taken that photograph yet. Oh, where's the Nest Award? Yes, it hasn't gotten to the stage yet. Yes. Apologies for that. That's a double win here. Hearty congratulations, team. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on stage to do the honors. May I have the panelists join me here? The four of you who took part in the final panel discussion, please join us here for a photograph. Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Mr. Siddharth, Ms. Nikki, joined by the moderator, please come here for a photograph, the four of you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And this was the most equally represented panel, by the way. 2 men, 2 women, the most equally represented panel here today. Thank you once again. That's one vibrant selfie being clicked on stage. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that part of the evening which all of you have been eagerly awaiting, for which we need to reset the stage. We request your patience for roughly 30 minutes for the light and sound to be set on stage to receive one of the greatest artists that Kerala has ever had. We are all awaiting her performance here, a name that conjures up the notion of art in its highest form, a true master of her craft, whose contributions across various traditions, whether it's classical dance or various genres of films. Thank you for joining. Yes, yes. I'm so sorry you can't hear me. Yes. Please do join the audience. And please do stay back for this phenomenal performance that's happening on stage soon after. Yes, the stage is going to be reset soon. It will roughly take 30 minutes. See you in a bit. And all of you, please hang around because this is one performance that you do not want to miss.